Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3Wide TV and tonight's broadcast of the NorthWest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. We got the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby here tonight at Flags Speedway down in Pensacola, Florida, and it should be an awesome show. We got the B main lined up for you here pretty soon, but the A main is what everyone has been talking about since the beginning of the season. We got 300 laps tonight around this very famous racetrack, and of course the real one got rained out. So here we got some good clear skies for tonight's action. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is Charles Sears. And Charles, great to have you up here in the booth here on 3Wide TV, joining us for a very, very famous race, this one here tonight, and all these drivers going at it. What do you expect to see tonight?
Thank you, Peter. I expect a lot of carnage on a short track, even though we only have, 15 people in the main, the B main right now, so we're definitely looking for exciting 75 laps. Can't wait to get this thing going and start watching the A main.
Yeah, of course, 6 drivers will move on from this B main in the top 6 positions. 2 other drivers will transfer based on points. And in fact, we have a few drivers in this field here in this B main who are quite high in points, including Seth Frazier and Shane Quinn. Both of those drivers will be starting inside the top 5, so keep an eye on them. Casey Tillman will start this B main from the pole in that number 92 machine you see right there. Pacing behind that Ford Mustang pace car, but expect to see that Mustang pace car dive onto pit road here in just about a lap, but it should be pretty good. 75 laps. They're not allowed to change tires if you're joining us for the first time here in the NorthWest Tour. They will have one pit stop in the A main right around halfway, so we'll have a halfway break there. But these drivers here in this B main, they're unable to change tires. They're going to have to save their tires for 75 laps, which should be a spectacle to see, as we're now just about half a lap away from the green flag. One thing that's really interesting about Flags Speedway, especially here in iRacing, is the fact that the lighting isn't that great around this racetrack. It's a very, very dark racetrack, and I'm sure we'll see that as the sun continues to set. But for
now, I was noticing that, yeah.
Without a doubt, green flag now in the air. Casey Tillman gets a pretty good start there, Charles.
Yeah, so we got some side-by-side racing with Seth Frazier and Casey Tillman going at it for the first position. Just a reminder, top 6 does qualify, and it looks like Casey pulls away and is able to hold the bottom line, get in front of Seth Frazier here. But also, don't forget, Peter, there are 2 provisional qualifiers for the A main. The top 2 that aren't qualified in the 22 positions automatically qualify for the A main. So that means we're going to have 24 drivers in the A main. So we got Casey out there pulling out in front of Seth. In third place, we got Brad Morrison side by side with Shane Quinn. It looks like Shane Quinn's making the pass, and it looks like Brad is stuck up there. He's lost 2 positions so far. Is he able to hold on to third or 5th place? Yes, he is. He's able to make it a low line and make sure to keep Brent Holloway right behind him.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult racetrack to usually pass at, so I'm not too surprised to see a couple of these drivers really trying to make their way forward as quick as they can, use their 4 fresh Hoosier tires to their advantage, because we've heard from a couple drivers this season in the NorthWest Tour, when those tires start to get slick, it can be very, very tricky for the drivers to make those moves, because the cars just get so sideways when you get the throttle down. And we have seen a couple of those drivers make those good moves, like Shane Quinn now in the 3rd position. And you mentioned it there earlier, Charles, that we do have 2 provisional drivers. So even if you are Shane Quinn in that number 4 machine, he's actually the highest placed points driver in this B main. So even if he was not to transfer in the top 6, he would still move over into the A main based off of his point standings currently in that number 4 machine. But for right now, your front 2 are checking out up at the front.
Yeah, they definitely pulled out ahead. They have a 1.4 second lead on 3rd place Shane Quinn. Looks like we have a decent battle out here for 5th place. We got Brad Morrison here trying to fend off Brent Holloway. And right behind him, we got Travis McKinney and Dylan Kane trying to take up some positions. This track seems like there's only one racing groove, and if you're stuck on that outside lane, you can easily lose a couple positions.
Yeah, we saw that out of Brad Morrison there just a few laps ago. But do want to highlight the number 48 machine of Travis McKinney. He was actually the fastest car in for the small little practice session that we had prior to this B main. And so I'm not all surprised to see him start to work his way through the field. He started in the 8th position. He's currently riding in 7th in that number 48 machine. He's put together some fairly decent runs, as I think the door just opened up for him to get underneath the number 17 machine of Brent Holloway. And Holloway, wrecking behind, looks like the 777 Dylan Kane.
Looks like, yep, Patrick Risso tried to combine his name, spun out. Let me rewind and see what happened to him. And we got the replay coming up.
Yeah, we'll see what happened here on the 3-wide TV replay. And looks like the 777 Dylan Kane got loose. And the 911 machine also got involved there. Adam Holm in that machine. So you mentioned to me prior to the race, Charles, that the 777 was actually on probation this week. So if this caution flag goes against him, he has the one and done rule, and he will be, I believe, removed from this race if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, that'll be a big shame for him because he needs this race to start moving up in points. So it'll definitely be a big shame if this is his fault.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not what he wanted to have happen. We'll see if that 777 machine actually does pull off the racetrack or not. Still currently being shown on the racetrack, being scored 15th of the 15 cars. There he is in that number 777 machine. One good thing about this racetrack is because it's relatively short, the caution flags don't seem to take all too long. In fact, I expect to see the pace car lights off here this time, right in front of that number 92 machine. And as I say that, of course, the pace car lights stay on, so just telling me that I was wrong. Good old iRacing can never really predict how long the caution flags are going to be, but currently good run for Seth Frazier in the number 32 machine, doing all he needs to do. Of course, he needs a good run here tonight to kind of get himself back up into the points picture up near the top. And there is Shane Quinn. He needs a good run to get into the A-main because he is up near the top of the points chart already in that number 4 machine. But then you have Josh Robinson, and then Brad Morrison and Travis McKinney. McKinney able to get around Brent Holloway there, and now McKinney is your bubble driver in the 6th position.
Yep, that is right. Looks like we have, 2 to green going right now? Oh, 1 to green. I'm sorry about that. It looks like we're 1 to green, so this is going to be an exciting restart. I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on the leaders. And let's see.
Well, it looks like the pace car is headed down pit road as we speak, and the race will now be in the hands of Casey Tillman once again. And Tillman trying to lead this thing from flag to flag. We've seen that a couple times here in these B mains, and really, if you are up near the front, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th place cars.
Dylan Kane spinning out.
Oh, 777 machine again?
Oh no, I'm sorry, Risso.
Oh yeah, Patrick Rizzo in the 1
machine. He ran
machine.
into the back of someone and just spun it loose.
Yep, got into the back there of the number 76 machine of Eric Cheney. And Eric Cheney last week on a road course was very, very glad to have those 2 Twisted Duels brought to you by RusticMoon.net in his rearview mirror. Just did not take a liking to those road courses, and now on a little bit more familiar territory in that number 76 machine, but currently riding in the 13th position. Here we got a good battle. This is just behind the transfer spot. Brad Morrison is going to lose another spot to Travis McKinney. So Brad Morrison started this race, this B main, I should say, in the 3rd position. Now he's the bubble driver, and I'm sure he's going to be watching his rear view mirror because look at that scrum of cars right behind him.
Yeah, we have Seth Frazier up here battling for the lead. He's been keeping a nice little 2/10 distance behind Casey Tillman, and then we also have little blips of Shane Quinn coming in the picture. Sometimes he's 0.7, sometimes he's 0.5 behind the leaders. So this is definitely looking like a nice race up front, even though these guys aren't really racing for much up here. The goal here is to get top 6 to get in there. And it looks like, oh man, we got Brent Holloway back in 7th place. He's trying to get that 6th spot, that bubble spot, away from Brad Morrison, but looks like Brad Morrison's able to get in line and get some space. Looks like we have a good battle for 4th up here with Travis McKinney and Josh Robinson. Unfortunately, the top 4 have pulled away from 4th place. They're a full 1.3 seconds behind. Ooh, and Travis goes under. Looks like he does have the low line. Let's see if he can stick it.
That was an absolute power move out of that number 48 machine. Just got below the number 47, so those two.
Looks like he's able. Let's see if Josh Robinson can get to the bottom before the 26 gets there. And it looks like Morrison's able to close up that hole real quick.
Oh, we have a caution. There's 2 cars around in turn number 1. One of them is the 53 of Jade Williams, as well as the 76 of Eric Cheney. And we'll see what happened here on the replay. Ooh, that number 53 looked already out of shape. Maybe we can go back and get another view of a little bit earlier here.
That is really unfortunate for Eric, man. He just looked like he was a bystander, unless he caused the 53 to get loose like that.
Oh, the 55 there. We saw there on the replay that the 55 of Alejandro Mendoza hit the outside wall, and there was nowhere for Jade Williams to go. Let's go back and see this on the replay. Riding on board here with Jade. 55 hits the wall. That the number 53 machine just went right into the back of the 55. There was just nowhere to go. So that is an absolute heartbreak for both of those cars. I think Jade Williams' car isn't too badly damaged. I'll tell you what, these super late models can take an absolute beating. But that is a very, very hard hit for Eric Cheney there. As you said there, Charles, not what he wanted to have happen.
I know, he was just running his line and everything, and then all of a sudden the 53 just came up the track and just almost, I would say, took him out of contention of this. You know, you don't have that much time. You're trying to get the top 6, and, you know, he was fighting him around the 10th, 11th position, trying to work his way up. This is just not a good thing. It's very unfortunate. Real quick, this race is sponsored by Kustom Fab, is owned by a man named Chance Overholt out in West Richland, Washington. He does a lot of cool work on special late model, or I'm sorry, super late models, pro late models, and legend cars. He also does powder coating, laser engraving, and has a CNC plasma table, so he can make some pretty slick looking stuff for you. Go check out his Facebook. It is Kustom Fab LLC. Go check him out. He is a sponsor of the B main and the A main for the 300 lap race today.
Yeah, and of course, they are the title sponsor for tonight's Snowball Derby, the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby here for the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products. Don't forget to check out Joe's Racing Products, especially if you are a driver or a crew member of Super Lates. They have some very, very cool stuff. But nonetheless, pace car is off onto pit road once again. That race in the hands of that man right there, the 92 of Casey Tillman. So far has led every single lap in this B main, but we're not yet to the halfway distance until we figure out who's going to transfer over into the A main here tonight. The 300 lap feature here in just a little bit here on 3Wide TV. But this is the battle a little bit further back. Here we got some side-by-side action between the 1 and the 777. Patrick Rizzo in that machine. He's going to take that spot away from Dylan Kane. And I'm kind of surprised to see Dylan Kane out there. I believe he is still one of the drivers on probation, like you said, Charles. So he's still out there on the racetrack, still turning laps, but for right now, he's in the 12th position. He's 6 positions behind where he needs to be.
Yeah, I'm liking this 00 of Chris, was that Meringue? He's battling the number 17. It looks like 17, Brent Holloway, is able to pull away, get a little closer to Brad Morrison. But there was, it looks like 00 was getting loose a little bit. I don't know if he hit the wall or not, but that was definitely kind of dangerous for him. He was giving Holloway a run for his money on that restart, but it looks like that might have just took away his chance of possibly trying to get a top 6, where only Brent Holloway is the only man that's able to squeak into the race.
And the driver right behind Chris Meringue right now, Dale Winterberg, he actually his biggest mover in this race so far. He's up 5 positions from where he started. Yeah, started down in the 14th position, and I think he's going to make that move on Chris Meringue. There he goes. So he's now up 6 spots from where he started this one. He's now holding the 8th position. So he's still got plenty of time to run down both Brent Holloway and Brad Morrison, the 2 cars he needs to pass to get into tonight's A-main feature.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's making the moves, and he's got his eyes on the prize where he needs to get that 6th spot. It looks like top 4 is a little more condensed. They're only 0.6 seconds apart from each other from 1st to 4th. So we got a good race up here, but again, I guess it doesn't really matter where you finish here in this race unless it affects your A position or you start for the A main. But okay, so it does affect your position. I just heard from the booth upstairs. But right behind them, we have 5th place and 6th place, the Bubble Boys, going at it, where it looks like Brad Morrison's trying to lock up a top 6 spot by getting in 5th, trying to make a pass on Josh Robinson, and it looks like he can't make it on that bottom line.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to know if Brad was saving his tires a little bit. Remember, he qualified for this B-main in 3rd, and now he dropped back to 6th. But I think he's slowly but surely starting to reel in that number 47 of Josh Robinson. There is a decent gap between Brad Morrison back to Brent Holloway. There's about 0.7 of a second between them. So at least for now, he has a little bit of room to attack that 47 machine.
Yes, he does. The only thing I would say that about Brad Morrison's tires is when he was fighting with Josh Robinson in the 47, he looked like he couldn't hold that bottom line very well, and he was getting a little loose where he had to back out of it. Like, he tried to make a pass, but then he just couldn't, like, upon entry to the turn 1, he just couldn't get the car to stick to the bottom, and he had to back out a little bit.
There we saw the damage number 53 of Jade Williams on pit lane. I think that will be it for Jade here tonight. We've already seen Eric Cheney take the number 76 machine to the garage, so we'll see if Jade can get back out there on the racetrack. But Jade is actually taking tires right now, which is not allowed here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. Could be an accident, but I think that will pretty much be the end of the night for Jade. 2 laps down and just sitting there stricken on pit road. But nonetheless, there's some good action out there on the racetrack. The battle for the 3rd position here has really heated up. Travis McKinney trying to use that outside line to get around the number 4 machine of Shane Quinn. I think Travis McKinney's found some grip up there and has made that move. So McKinney fastest in the practice session, and here comes Seth Frazier for the race lead to the inside of Casey Tillman. Tillman so far has led every single lap, and Seth Frazier gets loose in the inside.
Oh my gosh.
And wow, what a save there by Seth Frazier. Lost a couple positions, but did not lose a transfer spot. We'll go back and see that one on the replay. What happened here, Charles?
Yeah, so it looked like Seth Frazier just could not stick it to the bottom. He just got loose and he ended up in the wall. I don't know if he just underjudged that wall, how much space he had, but it might have been the same problem that Brad Morrison had when he was fighting Josh Robinson for the 5th spot, where that bottom line is not really an ideal line once you get some wear and tear on these tires where you can't really hold it.
Yeah, the other thing about this racetrack is there is no white line through turn number 3 and 4 to separate the apron from the racetrack, and sometimes that can also get and go out and fight some drivers, and I think that also might have been what happened there with Seth Frazier. But nonetheless, I'm still watching that number 32 machine. His car does not look well behaved right now. He's really stepping out the rear end coming out of the corner. He did so last lap as well, right here coming out of turn number 4. So Seth Frazier, he was going for that race lead, but maybe he tried just a little bit too much there. But nonetheless, that number 32 is still in a transfer spot. He's still got about a second back to Josh Robinson, so that will be good for him. Starting to watch Patrick Rizzo in the number 1 machine, starting to work his way through the field, and that's somewhat surprising. Remember, that number 1 machine was turned around. He's up to the 9th position now, and he's all over the back bumper of Dale Wennerberg here, and we'll see if Rizzo can start to make some noise. If he gets another caution, he might actually have a shot at getting into the top 6, but for now he's about 2.5 seconds behind the 6th place transfer position. Dives to the inside of that number 70 machine, and 70 machine washes up just a little bit, so Wennerberg to the outside, and Rizzo to the inside here. I think he's going to take that spot.
So it looks like we have some action here for the 5th between Josh Robinson and Morrison again, the 26 and the 47, or sort of Morrison seems to be getting underneath him, but then he's having that same issue where it's hard to race side by side, I guess, on that bottom line. And this is good for Rizzo because he's slowly, or I'm sorry, Holloway. This is good for Holloway, and I guess it's good for Rizzo as well because they can catch up and get that bubble boy. Oh, it looks like Brad Morrison actually hit the wall right there. So who knows? Maybe, sort of like what Seth Frazier did, Peter. It's just like maybe just being too aggressive. Like, yeah, it's cool that you win the B main, but isn't just the goal to win? You know, to make it to the A main so you can win that. So, like, why are you going to overdrive your car? Why are you going to overheat your tires? And it looks like the leaders are all bunched up now. They're all within zero point 0.6 seconds of each other. Was it McKinney stuck on the high line with Shane Quinn on the bottom?
And remember, McKinney made that move on that number 4 machine around the outside, but it's starting to look like that number 4 machine has figured out that inside groove. I've seen him poking that nose to the inside of Travis McKinney. Hasn't been able to make it work just yet. I think what McKinney's trying to do is hopefully get his nose to the right rear quarter panel of Casey Tillman, as now we see McKinney's going to go down to the inside. Oh man, looks like
Quinn's lost some positions. Something happened to Quinn.
Quinn, I think he got loose or couldn't get the power down or something out of turn number 2 there. And unfortunately for him, Seth Frazier just powered on by. Once again, that number 4 machine back into the 4th position, which is where he started tonight's race. Travis McKinney started this race in the 8th position, now running in the 2nd position, and is the biggest mover in the field. And man, Travis McKinney looks very, very quick around this racetrack. He's diving to the inside, going to the outside, trying to find a way around Casey Tillman, unable to do so just yet. Tillman, if you're just now joining us,
Tillman just got loose, or he got turned way wrong. Lost a lot of speed there, where everyone just is starting to catch up and bunch up even more. Even has Frazier looking on the outside, a little bit of McKinney. Did you see what happened to Tillman? Like, he just doesn't look that fast in 3 and 4 compared to 1 and 2.
I'll tell you what, that number 32 machine, Seth Frazier, over the last 5 laps has been the fastest race car out there on the racetrack. I don't know if he got any damage when he clipped the wall just a few laps ago, and I don't know if it's made him any faster, but for right now, ooh man, Travis McKinney getting all up out of shape there coming out of turn number 4, and that's going to open the door on the outside for Seth Frazier. Can Frazier hold on and see if he can actually get around this number 48 machine? There goes Seth, dives it off into turn number 3, and McKinney's kind of boxed in here. He kind of oh, we have a car spinning around in front of your race leaders. It's the 777 machine, and Dylan Kane hard on the outside. Well, that car was almost on its side there going down the front stretch. I saw sparks flying. Here we go. Watch this one on the replay. All by himself, got up on his side and hard in the outside wall. I'm sure those leaders were glad that he spun up against the wall there, because I'm sure they saw that light flash before their eyes. This is going to set up a very interesting finish here, Charles, because right now we have just over 10 laps to go, and we will get this race back to green flag conditions with only a few laps to go.
Oh yeah, this is a huge break for Brent Holloway in 7th place, and everyone back, Rizzo and Wennerberg. And it looks like Dylan Kane is going to the garage, but this is a big break for pretty much everyone in 7th place and back, because they're up to, it looks like they're a little more than 2 seconds behind the 6th place car. So this is a good chance to like bunch them all up. This is your last hurrah. Hopefully the people in the back understand that like they were saving their tires because they weren't racing for a position or anything like that. I do like the number 1 machine, Rizzo. He seemed like he was getting closing the gaps a little bit slowly, but he didn't seem like he was overdriving the car at all.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you know, Casey Tillman's led so far every single lap. Travis McKinney done a great job going from 8th to 2nd. Seth Frazier also has had an up-down night, but he was able to get around Shane Quinn. And Shane Quinn just holding station in the 4th position. Gained a spot, lost the spot, now he's back in 4th. But really, for this little shootout we're going to have to finish, we are going to have to watch that transfer spot, because Brad Morrison, Brent Holloway, Patrick Rizzo, those 3 drivers, as well as Josh Robinson in 5th, they're not safe, and one of those drivers, or 2 of those drivers, will make it there into the top 6. I'm sure of it by the end of this thing. So it's going to be really interesting to watch that transfer positions once we go back to green flag racing. But you can see the sun has pretty much completely set here over this B main here for the A main here, which will be the Snowball Derby, brought to you by Kustom Fab. Go check them out. There's some really, really cool stuff that Kustom Fab has done. They have actually put out tonight's trophies. There are trophies for winning tonight's Snowball Derby, and it's going to be very, very cool to see it. There's also going to be a hard charger award that's going to be given out. So some really cool things in store for these drivers here in the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products here on 3 Wide TV. Gotta say thank you to both Kustom Fab and Joe's Racing Products. Of course, you can see Joe's Racing Products up there in the top left of your screen. Very cool to see. But I also kind of want to say, give a shout out to Pyrotech, because they have given out helmets for the year-end trophies here for these drivers, and Pyrotech makes some pretty good stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool to see that.
Oh yeah, we're able to customize the Pyrotech helmets. We're giving one to the champion of the series. We're giving one to the rookie of the year. And then we're getting one to, oh, it looks like we're green flag. This is the restart I wanted. It looks like we got the number 1 underneath the 7 car. That's exactly where the number 1 wants to be, but the 7 sort of ruining his chances. Yep. Oh, and it looks like the one past him. Oh, the 17's loose. He got hit by the number 70 car. And we have no caution, so this might be the break that Patrick Rizzo needed to hunt down and maybe take the 6th position away from Mr. Morrison in the 26 car.
Yeah, we stay green flag here at 5 flags, and you saw that contact that sent the number 17 around. Only 5 laps to go here, and what can Patrick Rizzo do? Can he break himself up into that top 6 right now? There's a pretty significant, about 0.4 of a second gap between Brad Morrison and that number 1 machine. Oh, you can see Rizzo doing everything he can. He
got loose at the bottom. That probably almost sealed the deal, because it looked like he held up the number 70 car right behind him.
Yep, and here comes Dale Wennerberg in the number 70 machine. What can he do? Can he get around the number 1 machine? Not for now. Rizzo slams the door on that number 70 machine, going off into turn number 4, but there's only 2 laps to go. And unfortunately for them, the top 6 are pulling away, but Josh Robinson in the number 47 machine just went way up the racetrack. I think he's in search of some grip right now, but looks like Brad Morrison might take that 5th position here as we're on the final lap of the B main. And there you go, that number 26 machine, Brad Morrison, down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like Josh Robinson. Oh, Rizzo tries really, really hard. There is Casey Tillman taking the checkered flag, but contact over the start finish line. Huge wreck. The 70 machine's up and over on his lid, and Dale Wennerberg is gonna crash out here with Rizzo doing everything they could on the final lap to try and make it into tonight's A main. Oof, man, there's a
man, what a finish! Even though it was for just 7th spot, that was one heck of a finish and a good try by 70. But again, like when you just go back to it, like it's all exciting and good, like, but it's for 7th spot. Like you need to finish top 6, and they sort of like, for them racing for 7th position, sort of ruin their chances of moving forward into the A main, in my eyes, at least.
Yeah, so the drivers who make it in: Casey Tillman, Travis McKinney, Seth Frazier, Shane Quinn, Brad Morrison, Josh Robinson. And then there will be 2 other drivers who will make it in based off of their current point standings. We're going to highlight that for you here in just a moment, but we're going to line up some interviews for you here quickly on 3 Wide TV, and I'll be back with you in just a brief moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pensacola, Florida for the finish of the B Main here for tonight's Snowball Derby here for the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. We're going to go through the finishing order for you here from this B Main and highlight the 6 drivers who automatically transfer into the A Main. Casey Tillman, flag to flag here in this B Main. Once again, another driver doing that flag to flag thing from the B Main. Travis McKinney comes home in second. Started this one in 8th and worked his way up into second. Very, very impressive performance from him. He'll have to pass a lot of cars in the A main starting from the 18th position here in just a little bit. Seth Frazier finishes in 3rd. Shane Quinn in the number 4 machine comes home in P4, also transferring. Brad Morrison in the 26th, and Josh Robinson, the last of your automatic transfer drivers. Dale Winterberg had that spectacular finish, sparks flying, flipping across the start-finish line there at the end, but was only able to come home with a 7th place finish, just 1 spot short. Patrick Rizzo in the number 1 machine comes home in 8th, Chris Marang 9th, and then the 911 machine of Adam Holm rounds out your top 10, Charles.
Yeah, in 11th place, we have Alejandro Mendoza in the 55 car. 12th, we have Brett Holloway 2. That's unfortunate for Brett. It looked like he had a pretty good car in contention and just was unfortunate to get caught up in a bunch of incidents. In 13th, we have 777 Dylan Kane. 14th, we have 53 of Jade Williams. And rounding out the last car is Eric Chaney at 76 car. That's probably the biggest bummer of the day because I don't know how much in contention he was, but he just got caught up in just being an innocent bystander.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was. And I believe your drivers, looking at the finishing order here, I believe we have probably Chris Marang will be one of the drivers getting a provisional, and I would like to say Adam Holm will be the second, but that's just me looking at some numbers real fast. So we'll confirm those, of course, for you when we do go over into the A-Main, but we have some interviews lined up for you, and the first of which will be the B-Main winner, driver of the number 92 machine, Casey Tillman. Casey Tillman, this is Peter Short here in the 3-Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, you led flag to flag here in this one. It looked fairly hard to pass from behind, and it looked like you had to kind of run a defensive line there for most of the race. You had some hard-charging drivers with both the 32 and the 48 behind you at certain points of this one. What can you learn from this race and take it over into the A-Main?
Well, first off, I was kind of trying a different, I was trying a 12-to-1 box with +8 on the steering, and I didn't really like it too well, so I was trying to be really patient with it. And as well as that, I was trying to focus on really getting a good straight drive off, so they were kind of getting me in the center a little bit, but I felt like I was decent enough center off that I can, hold my own a little bit. Seth got under me a couple times doing his, Seth can maneuver a car different ways that most people can't. And he got up under me those couple times, and luckily I was able to get a decent enough run off the top to kind of hold him off. And same with Travis. Travis was coming on hard as well. So
yeah, well, definitely leading flag to flag in this one. A pole position definitely helps you see this one out, but transferring over into tonight's Snowball Derby, just how important is this Snowball Derby for you as a race driver? I'm sure this is one you've had circled from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, actually, I was hoping to fly out there this year to actually go see the real Snowball Derby, but we didn't end up getting that to go through. So, but no, especially with Chance Overholt and those guys with Kustom Fab or whatnot, building those trophies and stuff. I think it's definitely. 300 laps is going to be a long time sitting here. My butt might be a little tired, but. I'm excited, just to hopefully keep my nose clean and hopefully be there towards the end of the race.
Hey, real quick, Casey, around midway through the race, were you getting loose running the bottom line? It looked like you were just holding up the 2nd to 4th place cars. I'm not too sure exactly what was going on, but it looked like in 3 and 4, like you were having some issues with like grip or just like seemed like you were just slowing down too much.
Yeah, on the bottom, the top, it's kind of more of it's a different transition, so you can kind of get a little bit better roll, I guess you could say. Where the bottom, you got to kind of try to get a really good launch straight, off the corner, to keep it straight going down the straightaway. And if you kind of got off just a little bit, it'd really want to step out on you. So I was kind of backing it up and kind of, you could say in a sense, parking it in the center. But that's kind of what I felt like I had to do to run the bottom was kind of, let it roll in a little bit, and then right in the center, kind of have to use a little bit more brake than everybody else was, and then just really get a good, nice launch from the center off. Um, and partially that's because that 12 to 1 box, that was the first time I ran it with this setup and that, and I felt like the 12 to 1 box for me on the top wasn't going to be the best place for me to go, or I would have tried the top a little bit more, but I'm just thankful we got to hold on to it this long. So
Well, Casey, very, very good run for you here. Before we let you go, you got any shout outs for us?
I want to give a shout out to BJ and Seth. Those guys have busted their butt. This is a phenomenal series to run with. Stop USA, they sponsored me in real life. YMC Inc. They gave me a paycheck and allows me to come play with all these guys online. So Chance Overholt, those guys for building those awesome trophies and that, and hopefully we can get one by the end of the night.
All right. Well, best of luck in the A-Main, Casey. We'll be able to talk to you after the race.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your winner of B-Main, and I believe that Charles Sears has caught up with the number 48 of Travis McKinney.
Hey, Travis, do you have a copy? This is Charles.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, that is a fantastic race that you ran. You started in 8th position. You were able to get to 4th. And then all of a sudden, you jumped up within a couple laps from 4th to 2nd, and you were able to hold that position. Tell me your thoughts between, it was like lap 35 to 40, where like it sort of seemed like the top 4 was bunching up, and then all of a sudden you were able to pass Shane and the number 4, and then 32 got loose, and then you were able to take that position away from him.
Yeah, I started off, not really knowing what to expect because I was just off today. Qualifying was off. I wasn't running as fast as I normally had been practicing all week, and I just felt off. So I went into the mindset of with this B main that I was going to be patiently aggressive. And I knew for the first part of the race everybody was going to be bottom feeding until the track starts rubbering up. So I just decided I was going to go to the high side and the car to roll and started picking off spots, and got lucky with Seth getting loose right there that he didn't wad us all up. And I mean, we had a phenomenal race with the top 4 guys.
Yeah, it definitely got kind of sketchy towards when you gained your 2 positions, because the 92 was like, in his words, he almost had to get in the middle of turn 3 and 4, and that sort of like bunched you guys up where you were able to track down and pass Shane, and then all of a sudden Seth got loose and kept it low, where you were just able to cleanly pass him and get in front of him and just hold that position. I mean, starting in 8th place, I mean, you're the only person in the top 6 that started outside the top 6. So, I mean, that's definitely a great run, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I knew I wasn't worried about the car and long run speed. I had the long run speed there. Just the qualifying, I don't know what I was thinking today. I just couldn't hit it. But yeah, I was watching the top 3 battling, and I knew Seth liked the bottom, and I didn't think Tillman was going to give up the bottom, so I knew that those guys fighting would stack up on the bottom, and nobody wanted to go to the high side. So I went to the high side, and I was like, well, I didn't have any pressure from behind at that point, so I'm like, might as well give it a shot, see if it'll work.
Yeah, exactly. We sort of said to ourselves that you might have been saving your tires. Like, it didn't seem like you're in it, but you were. Like, you're competitive, but not really. Like you said, like you're aggressively patient. That's a good term. I got to use that next time. All right. So before we let you go, do you have anyone to shout out?
Yeah, you guys up in 3 wide in the booth. I love going back and watching the races. BJ Tidrick with Rustic Moon sponsoring the race tonight. Kustom Fab for the trophies they're putting on. Everybody here at NorthWest Tour, they put on, a hell of a racing series, and it's just fun to be part of it.
Awesome, man. I can't wait to see you racing the A main and see you climb up those position pole.
Yeah, I'm starting deep, so I'll be patient for the first 150 and let her rip in the second half.
All right, sounds great, man. I'll hopefully we'll talk to you later after the A main.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Well, Charles, some very interesting words from both drivers there after that 5-lap B main, and we started to see those drivers get loose. But you have to remember that was only after 75 laps. They'll have to go 150 laps in tonight's 300-lap Snowball Derby to get fresh tires. So it's going to be a very long night for all of these drivers here tonight in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah, Peter, I was definitely afraid that this was going to be just a follow the leader, stand in line. If someone in front of you messed up, you're able to take advantage of it. But after watching the 75 lap B main race, there's definitely a lot more variables when it comes to like tire wear and everything like that, where this could definitely get into a saucy race, especially essentially we're racing two 150 lap races. And just to remember, drivers are not allowed to take tires until the competition caution at lap 150, or if there's a caution between lap 135 to 149, that will be considered the competition yellow that everyone can get tires and fuel on. But every other pit stop, they have to get fuel only. No tires. They can get repairs as well.
Yeah, so very, very interesting little, tidbit. It's a unique feature about this Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products that they do have that rule. But pretty darn cool. Also very interesting to hear Casey Tillman talk about his box ratio, his steering box. That is really one of the only options that these drivers have to adjust how these cars drive. And essentially it's just the steering ratio. So it's not, something that you can't overcome with, different steering ratios. Obviously, it's the same geometry in the car throughout the entire field because it is a fixed setup series. But just the way that the car loads up the tires is a little bit different. You can load up the tires a little bit quicker with a lower ratio. So it's interesting to hear that that number 92 machine was playing around with that. He says he wasn't too happy with it, but we'll see if he makes some adjustments here for tonight's 300-lap A-main, see if he can charge his way through the field.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the adjustment back. He might have just made an adjustment for this race and make it like, all right, let me be a little more aggressive, because he was definitely slowing down a little too much where, like, in a 150-lap stint, he's definitely going to get past and fall back. I mean, we have 24 drivers looking to, win this thing. You can't afford to make those kind of mistakes. And being the only variable that you can change with these cars, it definitely seems like a super sharp double-edged sword where, like, if you can dial that in where it fits your driving style and your equipment, it works out great. But if you can't dial it in, you're off by a little bit. You're either A, burning up your tires, or, I mean, I guess mostly just burning up your tires where you just can't turn the car, or, you're just going to have to slow down. And that's not ideal at this track, especially at a half mile. You can't make that many mistakes here. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting going back to his steering box ratio. If you have a lower ratio, like I said, you load up your tires sooner. You load them up harsher, and usually that leads to a higher amount of tire wear. Now, usually the people who have the high steering ratio, it makes it so you have to put a lot of wheel in the car to get that car to turn. So you load up your tires a little bit more linearly, and it usually saves a little bit of tire. So that could be another interesting thing here tonight. So let's kind of set your current point standing situation. And it's an interesting one because that name up at the top of the board, Caden Anderson, well, you won't be seeing that name here tonight. Heard different things about Caden Anderson, about why he isn't here tonight. Isn't anything to do particularly with this league, but I think it's just an iRacing hiccup or whatnot. But unfortunately, that your points leader, Caden Anderson, and winner of the multiple races. You see 3 checkered flags, got 3 wins so far this year, will not be racing here tonight. So Ryan Gormley, a rookie, is the highest placed driver in points who will be starting tonight's race. Bart Hector Jr., only 7 markers behind Ryan Gormley. Seth Frazier tied with Bart. They're 7 points behind Ryan. Then you have Shane Quinn, who just transferred into the A main from the B main. Travis Barnes behind him. Garrett Huffine, Sean Brightsman, Jason Templeton, and Nick Bellamy rounding out your top 10 in points. But it's going to be very interesting to see just how far Caden Anderson falls, because there's about 113 points up for grabs here tonight in this Snowball Derby. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Caden Anderson comes out of this thing as your race leader. But unfortunately, Caden Anderson won't be able to get one of those custom fab trophies, which I know a lot of these drivers will want throughout this field. It'll be very, very cool to see who will get one of those custom fab trophies. And of course, this is the custom fab Snowball Derby, so very, very fitting to see that. Also in the rookie point standings picture, Ryan Gormley obviously leading those both the points and the rookie points. Travis Barnes currently sitting second, and Jason Templeton third in rookie points. There's, like you mentioned earlier, Charles, there is a trophy for the top placed rookie and the rookie of the year, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But nonetheless, what are you seeing out there on the racetrack right now, Charles?
I am seeing that if I'm Mr. Anderson, I would be scared because Mr. Gromley is at the top of the leaderboards with a 16.149 lap. That's the fastest lap. He is laying down the fastest lap. He's looking solid. He's looking fast. I'm not seeing anyone else in the top 10 at the top of the leaderboards, but I mean, we have Travis Barnes with a 16.195. Cameron Doyle's third. Dylan, was that Huffines? I'm sorry about that. Sean Britzman, Nick Bellamy, Brad Carpenter, Seth Frazier. Oh, Seth Frazier's at the top of the, one of the faster cars in practice. That's definitely nice to see. And so is Travis McKinney. Yeah, so this might have been a nice little warm-up where I wouldn't be surprised if Seth Frazier, Travis McKinney, and essentially all the B-main guys, Casey Tillman, Brad Morrison, I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys going through the ranks and getting up to the top of the, in front of everyone, essentially. I mean, it's got me flustered with words, but I mean, they are able to put down 75 laps in practice. They sort of know what tire wear to suspect. I'm not saying other people haven't practiced, but they've raced in racing conditions where the top 4 in that race, it was actually kind of competitive around lap 35 to 50 because 92 was getting loose or too tight, 48 was getting bunched up. This is definitely going to be an exciting race, but right now, I mean, we got Ryan Gromley at the top of the leaderboard. He's looking to take home the unless something fortunate happens, he's probably going to be the points leader leaving this race, especially with Mr. Anderson not being able to be here.
Absolutely. And is that a reference from the Matrix, Mr. Anderson? Anyway, whether or not
it sort of does.
we have some interesting news, and that is who was the fastest in qualifying. Well, the fastest in qualifying was actually Travis Barnes, a rookie in the number 8 machine, and Travis Barnes currently second on the leaderboard. In fact, the top 2 currently in practice here for tonight's A main feature are both rookies, with Gormley leading with a 16.149 over Barnes 195. But Travis Barnes will be starting this race from the 16th position because, of course, here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products, the top 16 qualifiers get inverted. So the 16th place qualifier starts first, 15th second, 14th third, yada, 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 until you get to the fastest man in qualifying, that being the 8 of Travis Barnes. And Travis Barnes has shown quite a lot of pace so far this year, currently sitting 7th place in points, and has had some very respectable runs, especially back at Sobo in week 2. So wouldn't be at all surprised if Travis Barnes works his way towards the front as he works his way through turn number 3 and 4 right now, with Sean Brightsman and Brightspin's been pretty quick in that number 46 machine all year long. So a couple of big names in this A main who will be starting fairly far back in the field just because of the inversion.
Yeah, and talking about Travis Barnes in the Rookie of the Year race, he's currently second right now. He's 10 points ahead of Mr. Templeton in third place of the Rookie of the Year race. But if Barnes ends up finishing well here but can't beat Gromley, a little side note about those helmets, if the first place of the Rookie Year ends up winning the season championship, the Rookie of the Year helmet gets defaulted down to the second place in the rookie standing. So Mr. Barnes has a chance of, if it's a Gromley Barnes 1-2 finish, they definitely have a good chance of taking helmets home at the end of the season, even though we still have plenty of races to go before the end of the season. Looks like we have 16 races, so this is only race 7. But with those two being the fastest cars on the track, I would be definitely scared if you're Hector, Frazier, Quinn, because these rookies are here to play. They're definitely one of the faster ones on the track.
Absolutely. And of course, this is 7 of 16 races, like you said. So next week when we go to Stafford, it will be the halfway mark of the 2019-2020 Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. But tonight, of course, it is the kind of the crown jewel of the season. We got the Kustom Fab with a K. Go look them up. 300 laps for tonight's Snowball Derby. It should be a good show. Look at that gaggle of cars there going off into turn number 3, led by the number 23 machine of Ellie Musgrave. And oh man, there's a little bit of contact there on the backstretch as we look at a very clean and clear front stretch. A couple cars going around back there. So could be a very interesting race. Lots more cars in this one. They're pretty much twice the field that we had in the B main. So twice the field, twice the action pretty much.
Yeah, and I'm definitely excited for this Kustom Fab 300 race that we're about to have in about 6 more minutes, it looks like. Thank you to our sponsors, Kustom Fab. Go check out their Facebook, Kustom Fab LLC. Pyrotech for providing these helmets. Right now they're just plain white. We're going to get them custom painted with the league's logos on them, which is really cool. And thank you for everyone for being here, for watching us. If you can give us a like and subscribe or a follow, we would appreciate that. This is 3 Wide Racing TV, where we'll be bringing you all of the races for this series, and hopefully future series as well. As they're bumping in traffic, watching these traffic guys, man, it looks like Travis Barnes was playing bumper cars right there. I don't know if we have a good look at that. Now it looks like... Yeah. Well, what turn are we looking at right now? Turn 1 or turn 3?
I think we're looking at turn 3 right now.
Okay, yeah,
that's see those cars go through. But do want to give a mention to some of the people in the chat. Want to give a shout out to Kathy Rose in the chat once again. Kathy, once again, welcome back to 3 Wide TV. Caden Anderson is in the chat, and Caden, I know you wish you were out there on the racetrack, but he's rooting on a couple of drivers, including Casey Tillman tonight. He says, "Good job, Casey, for getting it done in the B main." Josh Aguirre, Timothy Musgrave as well as Jay Corpron. So make sure if you're in the chat, make yourself heard. Give us a shout. We will mention you here on the live stream. Looks like we also got Jay Craybill, TBGT11, and Killer Bees 11 as well. So pretty cool to see that, and Chrissy Reed. So a couple of people active in the chat. We got 300 laps here lined up for the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby, and you can see how to spell their name there at the bottom of your YouTube screen watching here. So go check them out. Like you said, Charles, very, very cool to have them on board. Of course, last week we had rusticmoon.net for the road course duels, and what a spectacle they were. 2 spectacular races, Watkins Glen as well as Laguna Seca. And I'll tell you what, if you've never seen super late models wrestle their way around Watkins Glen, well, let me tell you what, wrestling them around Laguna Seca was very, very cool to see. Very,
I
very
definitely agree. Being new to the team and everything, I rewatched that race last week, and I was just like blown out of the water with how, I guess, unique, or how, like, it was like a train wreck, but I couldn't like turn my head. Like it was just such a super unique thing to watch, seeing these late models on a road course like that, and surprisingly carrying a lot of speed too. I was really shocked. I was like, okay, this is just going to be like they're slipping and sliding everywhere. No, these guys are really legit, and they were holding their own. And as someone that's terrible at road courses, I was definitely admired in shock and awe just watching that broadcast.
Yeah, these guys here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products are fantastic drivers. I mean, we almost had a caution-free race a couple weeks ago, and it was very, very cool at Oxford Plains, which is a very, very difficult oval to go almost caution-free. We had about 100 green flag laps, over 100 green flag laps. I think it was about 120 green flag laps around one of the most difficult short tracks in the United States. Very, very short racetrack, about 3/8 of a mile, and they put on an absolute show. It was fantastic. Caden Anderson worked his way through the field cleanly and was able to get the win from buried deep in the field, which was very, very cool to see. But nonetheless, hopefully we can see another very good show here tonight. There's Chris Meringue in that double zero machine getting loose coming out of turn number 4. He's got a Buick machine
So
there.
who was I know you said Chris Meringue was one of the provisional points qualifiers. Who's the other one for tonight?
That is a good question. It is Adam Holm. So I was looking at the point standings correctly. So Adam Holm and Chris Meringue are your two drivers who make it into the A main based off of their current point standings. That being Adam Holm in the 911 machine and the Chris Meringue in the double zero.
Nice. Yeah, like I'm going to keep an eye on all 8 of those drivers. Even though Meringue and Adam Holmes sort of didn't seem too competitive, maybe they sort of knew like they didn't have to try so hard. Once they were at a certain point, they were like, okay, I cannot qualify for it. So, and it looks like we're about to get ready to go. The drivers are all going to the pits for their drivers meeting, going over everything. And Peter, what's probably the most interesting thing that we're about to watch that you think is going to happen?
I think it's just going to be really interesting to see the level of tire wear out of these drivers. 150 laps on their first set of Hoosier tires until they get to that halfway, caution flag that we're going to get. It's going to be interesting just to see, can they keep the tires on the race car? How will the race car transition over that long run? And will we see comers and goers? Will we see the people who save their tires start to slowly work their way through the field? Or will we see kind of like what we saw in the B main, where one driver leads from start to finish, but only time will tell? Let's go through tonight's starting lineup for the Kustom Fab 300 here, the Snowball Derby. And starting, well, I forgot. Looks like we're going to have to read them out here individually because of the inversion. It messes up some of the graphics, but the top 16 got inverted. So starting on the pole is the number 75 machine of Thomas O'Hara. Brian Lambert to his outside. That'll be your front row. Nick Bellamy in the 20 machine and the 51 of Christopher Heim on row number 2. Ellie Musgrave will be starting from the 5th position there in that number 23 machine, and to the outside of that 23 is the number 31 machine of Brad Carpenter. Then you see the number 80 machine, James Paulson, will be rolling off from 7th. BJ Tidrick in the RusticMoon.net machine will be rolling off in 8th. Sean Reitzman will start from 9th, and rounding out your top 10 will be the number 6 machine of Cameron Doyle. Bart Hector Jr. and KC Garber will make up row number 6, while Ryan Gormley and Kyle Franklin will be row number 7. Travis Barnes, Casey Tillman will be in row number 8. Travis McKinney, Seth Frazier, row number 9. Shane Quinn, Brad Morrison, 19th and 20th. Josh Robinson, Chris Meringue, 21st and 22nd. And Adam Holm and Dylan Huffines, 23rd and 24th here tonight. But the pace car lights are off. Pace car headed down pit road. The race will be in the hands of the number 75 machine. Thomas O'Hara will get us to the green flag here. 300 laps for the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby. Here we're under green flag conditions here for tonight's 300 lap feature for the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. And for now, look at that number 57 machine. Caution flag already out.
And we already got a caution.
car around out of turn number 2. Looks like Seth Frazier and Casey Garber here involved. There's Seth Frazier in that Peanuts number 32 machine. Let's see what happened here. Oh, man.
Oh, he just got collected by the 96.
Yeah, the number 96.
Looks like it got loose or something like that, hit the wall, and 32 had nowhere to go. So that's really unfortunate for Seth Frazier, running the B main, qualifying for this, and then running into that. Hopefully there's not too much damage. He can get it fixed and get some laps back, and hopefully not too far behind, and he can start making his way up front.
Oh, there might have been a little bit of help there on that one. I think the number 11 machine of Kyle Franklin might have tagged the number 96 of Casey Garber and got that number 96 loose and came down the racetrack, got into the side of number 8 machine, Travis Barnes. So Travis Barnes has a little bit of damage, and once the 96 bounced off of Travis Barnes, went up, hit the outside wall, and there was nowhere for Seth Frazier to go. Seth Frazier already quite a bit of damage on the front end of that machine, and I'm kind of surprised to see that. Oh wait, no, as I say that, the 32 machine is on pit road right now getting damage repaired. Will drop down a lap here. There are lucky dogs here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products, so that's what Seth Frazier will be hoping for here, but definitely not what we wanted to see here in the early going. An early caution, not even through half a lap. There's Casey Garber as well coming down pit road to try and get some of his damage repaired. He will find his pit boxes. Looks like his crew just kind of chatting on pit road to one another. But I'm sure they have a car to fix, so hopefully they can get to work there. Pace car now coming through turn number 3 and 4. And interesting start here, Charles. I mean, we didn't see this in the B main until over halfway through the race. Do you think this is going to change some of these drivers' strategies?
I really think the B main drivers, that experience is going to pay off as they line up to one to go. One thing I did notice on that start, it looked like Brian Lambert in the 57 car outside pole position had a somewhat bad start where the 20 of Nick Bellamy was trying to get underneath them. Definitely keep an eye on that, but if they race too hard early, they can definitely burn up their tires and they can lose a lot more track positions than starting. And here we go, and it looks like, oh man, almost 3 wide going into turn 1. It's almost like a fixed C race right here going up. But we got the top 3 all bunched up, and looks like Mr. Thomas O'Hara is not. Oh, we've got some contact, and Mr. Lambert is spinning. And it looks like he collected up into the 23, and we got a traffic jam where I see the 26, the 82, the 6, the 23. They're all some kind of damage or hit the wall. That's just heartbreaking right there.
This field's still trying to get sorted out. Finally, they get sorted out here on the front stretch. But yeah, you see that absolute melee. It doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on a lot of those cars, which is good news. But I think Bart Hector Jr. in the 82 machine got up into the wall pretty good in that kind of that baby blue 82. And I know that's one of Greg Rentz's favorite cars. Actually, I think it's got Greg Rentz on that machine. Bart running that car until Greg can get here and race in this Northwest Tour. Let's see if we can see exactly what happened to Bart here. He is up near the top of your point standing. He's currently 3rd in points, just 7 markers behind Ryan Gormley. And oh man, looks like he just got ran over by the number 34
like he started
Gormley.
Checking up, and the guy behind him didn't see what was going on. Like he saw the accident before the person behind him, and that's almost a classic of just getting your rear-ended, like plowed into. That's really unfortunate. I mean, to be fair though, that was an interesting lap and a half of like the transitions between the 75, the 57, and the 20, where it looked like they were almost 3 wide. I don't know why the 75 was that low coming out of turn 2 and essentially staying in that low line, but that was definitely one cause, because like you can't get good momentum going into turn 3 and 4 where you keep it at the bottom. So you either have to A, slow down, or B, move up the track. And that's essentially what sort of caused this, is when he went up the track. And I'm not sure, and it looks like he does get an EOL penalty. So unfortunately, the pole sitter, Thomas O'Hara, for that incident is being sent back to the end of the line.
Yeah, in fact, I was just about to mention that no one had tapped for that accident. And finally, Thomas Ferrer, I think he threw his hands up and said, that was all me, guys. And in fact, he is going to drop to the tail end of the longest line, like you said, Charles, taking the blame of that accident out there. So he will be the last car on the lead lap. Currently, we have 22 cars on the lead lap. Seth Frazier and Casey Garber, I believe, both of those drivers, they might have actually been involved in that accident. So it doesn't look like either of them will be getting the lucky dog here, which is unfortunate for them, but we do have the 1 to green. You see the field doubling up here, and Ellie Musgrave came out of that in the second position, and Nick Bellamy is going to come out of it with the race lead here in that number 20 machine. Got Quinn's Property Management on the front. Is, ooh, man, a little bit of bumping and banging here under the yellow flag between that 20 and the 23, but the pedal to the metal for Nick Bellamy, and that number 20 is going to scoot away off into turn number 1, but there's a lot of action happening right behind him.
Yeah, it looks like we got Brad Carpenter on the outside taking away third place from Christopher Heim, but Heim is not walking away too easily. They're racing side by side past the start finish line, going into turn 1, and they're still side by side, door to door. Neither one of these drivers want to give up the spot, but it will award Brad Carpenter the third place spot. But it looks like Christopher Heim is coming off the turn 4, and he will take that spot back. And it looks like he's got a decent run with the 46 of Sean Britzman right behind. Oh, and Christopher Heim had to check up because he carried too much speed in that, where he had to slow down. And good eye on all the drivers right there, the 46 to 44, for not making that another caution right there. That was definitely a heads-up play, where it seems like they're starting to single file.
Yeah, we saw that outside line kind of come in throughout the race in the B main, and at least we saw Carpenter able to make that move. But for right now, it seems like the inside line's still the preferred of the two grooves. Casey Tillman, your B main winner, has moved up from 16th on the grid up to 8th. So that number 92 machine on an absolute charge. Travis Barnes from 15th now to 6th, as they just got around Christopher Heim. Heim went up the racetrack in the 51 machine, and Heim all of a sudden starting to drop back. So also moved Tillman to 7th, Barnes to 6th. Gormley, your effective points leader, with your real points leader, Caden Anderson, not being in tonight's running. Gormley's currently being scored in 5th. So far, so good for the number 44 machine. Your points leaders, whoa, look at Brad Carpenter making a move underneath the 23 of Ellie Musgrave, and Brad Carpenter really trying to take that
it looks like Sean
position.
Britzman's taking advantage of that bump and run that he tried to do on Ellie Musgrave. He has the low line. Let's see if he can hold it. Oh, looks like we got a caution.
Yeah, caution frag. Oh, there's a huge wreck in turn number 1 and 2, and that's the number 4, Shane Quinn, who's facing backwards out there. Let's see what happened here on the 3-wide TV replay. Battling with the number 6 machine right there, and that's the 6 of Cameron Doyle, and looks like Adam Holm, was it? Is that the 911 machine who got involved there? Definitely tough breaks for both of those drivers, but Shane Quinn's going to go back. Let's see if we can get that aerial cam. Oof, Chris Moran getting involved there as well. Let's see if we can get that aerial view one more time. Maybe a little bit further back. This one is a tough call. I think. I mean, I don't know. That's a really tough call.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, like, if he got loose or he was actually hit. I mean, to be fair, he's racing for position, racing kind of hard. I would almost chalk that up to a racing incident, but we are not the admins here, so we'll see if any penalties are given out, because we do have a review crew going over the footage and determining who's at fault and if it deserves a penalty or not here. Very interesting race, at least for the top two. Not the top two, but second and third place. Ellie Musgrave, Brad Carpenter, and even Sean Britzman, they were getting into it where Nick Bellamy was able to take advantage of second through fourth, racing neck and neck, and just started pulling away. It looked like he almost had a 2-second lead on this race. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had a pretty good lead going into it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And We'll have to see. And that number 46 machine, Sean Brightsman, is very, very quick. He's been quick all season long, has yet to get to victory lane. But we saw that 46 machine pretty good on the road courses as well last week, both at Watkins Glen and Laguna Seca. So Sean knows how to get it done. He just hasn't been quite able to do so yet. But sitting up near the top of the points, solidly inside the top 10 over
he's
Jason
definitely
Templeton in
performing
ninth.
well. And here in the Custom Fab Snowball Derby 300, from the B main update, the highest one right now is Casey Tillman. He's currently in 6th place, starting in 16th. We have Travis McKinney in 7th place, starting in 17th place. So it looks like those two are just following each other, ducking and weaving, getting through traffic very easily. So the next one up is Hector? No, I don't think Hector was in it.
No, I think it would be Adam Holm, who was actually one of the provisional drivers in the 14th position. But before we go back to green flag action here, I want to give a few more shout-outs in the chat. Alex Mendoza, Chance Overholt, Adam Turner, and Joshua Beal. Welcome to 3YTV. Hope you're enjoying the show. Make sure to give a few shout-outs. Adam Turner saying, let's go Kyle Franklin. But we are going to have a single-file restart here, and it is the number 20 of Nick Bellamy who gets us back to green flag here, and that number 20 sails it off into turn number 1. In front of the number 23 of Ellie Musgrave. We saw Brad Carpenter trying to take that second position in that bright green number 31. We'll see if he can begin to mount that charge, but this single file restart isn't single file for too long as Cameron Doyle and James Paulson are side by side. Interesting to note, I don't think any driver tapped. Ooh, Sean Brightsman getting loose there coming out of the corner, but I don't think any driver tapped for that accident. I mean, maybe Shane Quinn did, but he was already at the back of the field, so I don't think he did. So that could go to a post-race review. Meanwhile, we got the side-by-side battle. Side-by-side battle now for second. And that's Carpenter on the inside of Musgrave.
Yeah, looks like we got Musgrave. Oh, Musgrave hits the wall, got some damage. Looks like, all right, so it looks like everything's starting to pan out where Gromley is able to take advantage and get past that as well. It looks like we have our B main winner trying to take advantage of Ellie Musgrave as well, trying to get up there. That's very unfortunate, but there's still plenty of race left to go. Hopefully she's not burning up her tires too quickly, but it looks like Casey Tillman's tracking down with Travis McKinney right behind him, just nipping at her bumper, just trying to get past him. And that looks kind of dangerous. It looks like Musgrave is kind of loose, either going into turn 1 and 2. And it looks like we got another caution. I'm not sure what exactly that was.
Casey Garber, they're slow in turn number 1. Let's see what happened here in the 3-wide TV replay. That number 96 and the 57 coming together. And, oof, that number 96 hard in the outside wall, just kind of nosed it in. That's going to be a significant amount of damage. And for the number 57 of Brian Lambert, second accident he's been involved in here tonight in that bright yellow machine. So definitely not what Brian Lambert want to have happen, as he's going to tap on that one. He will receive the end of longest line penalty. But for right now, Nick Bellamy is your race leader. And I know we've been talking about Brad Carpenter up there near the front. Looking good so far for that machine. In fact, I'm trying to see if I can get some timing and scoring from the last few laps here. And just to see kind of how things were going up at the front. And indeed, looking at your top 5.
To have some good positions on Musgrave and get underneath Musgrave, where Musgrave got that high line, and because it's not settled in yet or the tires aren't worn in yet, Musgrave couldn't hold that top line and almost took out, looked like half the field. But good heads up play by everyone, and Musgrave didn't suffer too much back there in 5th place in 23 car. Brad Carpenter is definitely doing a good job, and Nick Bellamy, he's still holding the race lead. He's getting good jumps on the restarts, and he's able to hold it down the lead. But now with Musgrave out of the way and Brad Carpenter putting down some fast laps, he might be setting his sights on Nick Bellamy to take that first position away, and right before the halfway mark, go into the competitive caution as the race leader.
Yeah, and I'm looking at lap times for the last 5 green flag laps. Sean Brightsman was actually the fastest car out there on the racetrack, besides Travis McKinney. So Travis McKinney, who got into this race from the B main, was actually the fastest car in the last 5 laps. And then you find Brightsman and Gormley. Gormley in the number 44 machine. Brad Carpenter was also pretty quick, but you have to go quite a ways back to find Nick Bellamy in the average 5-lap speed charts. He was around the 10th position or so. So could be very interesting to see once we go back to green flag action here in just a lap, whether or not he's able to hold on to that lead.
He might be able to do a good job with these short green flag runs, but I can imagine the longer green flag sessions are about to happen, and that's going to hurt Nick Bellamy if his only way of holding the lead is getting a good start on these restarts that he seems to be having. So it looks like the pace car is in, and we are coming to the start finish line. And Nick Bellamy, he's off to it again, and he gets a pretty good jump on Brad Carpenter, Sean Britzman, Bromley, and Musgrave, and that is your top 5 right there. Oh, looks like we might have some connectivity issue on Carpenter, but he closed that gap real quick on Bellamy, where Bellamy, if he doesn't figure something out, either save his tires or just start burning them off, it looks like Carpenter's going to try to run him down.
Yeah, we have a side-by-side battle for the 5th position. Casey Tillman still continuing his charge to the front side-by-side with Ellie Musgrave, and Musgrave's going to lose the 5th position, and will now slide back to 6th with a
hard charging. And then there's McKinney. He's looking to take that 6th position away from Musgrave.
I was going to say, Travis McKinney, the hard charger so far in this one from 17th to 7th. Same thing with Casey Tillman from 16th to 5th. So McKinney's plus 10, Tillman plus 11. So far in this one, you see it's like Travis McKinney having to play with the throttle there just a little bit. Ooh, a little bit of sparks flying from the right side of Ellie Musgrave's car. I know we have Timothy Musgrave here in the chat saying there's quite a bit of damage on the front end of that number 23 machine. And yes, there is quite a bit of damage. I'm kind of surprised that Ellie hasn't come down pit road to maybe see what kind of damage there is. There's still a long way to go in this race. Even if you lose a lap, there is that competition caution. So you can get that lap back. This is almost twice the length of a standard Northwest Tour race, so nothing, hurting you early in the race, minus just losing track position. Of coming down pit road and seeing what kind of damage you have, because you don't know as a race driver here in the iRacing service until you actually get to your pit box, and it comes up and tells you you have 10 seconds of damage, 20 seconds of damage, or lo and behold, 2 minutes of damage. You just don't really know until you're on pit road. But that number 48 machine, Travis McKinney, trying to get around that number 23 here as we have just gotten over the 40 lap marker. Still 258 laps to go here in this Snowball Derby, brought to you by Kustom Fab and the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products.
We definitely have a lot of laps to go, but right now the driver with the most positions gained is currently Dylan Huffines. He's currently in, I believe, his 7th position in points. He's gained 14 spots right now, currently in 10th place, started in 24th. So we're definitely looking good right there with a decent run. But like I said, with 250 more laps to go, anything can happen. This is a wide open race, but we do have Bromley. Looks like he's the next one up with 11. Not Gromley. I'm putting the R before the O. Okay. Gormley. There we go. I can read, guys. I promise.
It's okay. Some of us can't do numbers up here in the 3-wide TV booth. I know struggle with it sometimes, but nonetheless, we got a good side-by-side battle between Cameron Doyle and Travis McKinney right now. They're side-by-side, looking back now from Ellie Musgrave in that number 23 machine, the number 6 of Doyle on the inside, 48 of McKinney on the outside. And I think they're just trying to pounce around that number 23 of Musgrave, unable to do so. They're still just side-by-side, but we have a caution flag on the speedway. And it's the number 51, Christopher Heim, who's around on the front stretch, will lose a lap. Finally gets that 51 refired. Unfortunately, dropped that lap. Ooh, a little bit of help there. Casey Garber, I believe that is. That little bit of contact sent that machine spinning. Let's see what happened here from the aerial cam on the 3-wide TV replay. And wow, Garber just got a huge run there through the center of turn number 3 and 4. Closed right up on the back bumper of Heim, and unfortunately sent that 51 machine around. So Casey Garber will receive the end of longest line penalty here. And that number 96 will be, once again, it's already 2 laps down, unable to get the lucky dog. In fact, the 51 of Heim and the 96 of Casey Garber were the only 2 cars 1 lap down. And looks like Ellie is actually coming down pit road. So, that's what I was talking about a little while ago, that there's really nothing to lose at this point in the race. Come down, get some of that damage repaired. If that machine,
and the car is lifting. That's going to be a no-go right there if she took tires.
Ellie did take tires here, but I'll tell you what, there could be a little bit of, I guess I would say, a way to possibly self-penalize yourself for it, because all these drivers are going to get fresh tires at halfway. If I'm Ellie, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw my hands up, say, hey, look, I took tires. I'm going to go a lap down and ride a lap down until the halfway mark, because you're going to probably self-penalize yourself here. Get your damage repaired, go a lap down, keep yourself a lap down, and then once you get to halfway, everyone's going to be on fresh tires anyway. You're not supposed to do it. You did it by accident.
Yeah, I think I would have accidentally taken left sides as well and not just rights, because this is going to be interesting, the fact that Musgrave has... Oh, you can't stop right side or left side?
Yeah, I think once you get into your pit box, I think that is it. I think you've made your choice. But whatever the case, Ellie Musgrave out there.
It looked like only the right side of the car lifted up or got jacked up. So
yeah, I think it was just right side. So that's kind of interesting. And that could affect the way that number 23 machine drives. But nonetheless, Ellie Musgrave came down, got as much damage repaired as possible, currently being scored 1 lap down. But yeah, with those 2 fresher tires, could be interesting to see how that all plays out. Adam Holm in the 911 machine also finding himself 1 lap down in this race. So that 911 machine out there in the 22nd position will be trying to get his lap back as well. Christopher Heim currently in the lucky dog spot. Of course, it was that 51 machine who went around just a little bit ago. But pace car lights are off. Green flag back in the air here in Pensacola, Florida at Flags Speedway here in the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby in the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products. And that number 20 machine has scooted away once again. Nick Bellamy, your race leader. Brad Carpenter sitting in second. Sean Brightsman third. Ryan Gormley fourth. Casey Tillman fifth. Travis McKinney sixth. Cameron Doyle seventh. James Paulson, Dylan Huffines, and Bart Hector round out your top 10 here as we have gotten past the 50 lap mark. 246 laps to go. Still working their way around this racetrack.
Yeah, well, it looks like we have Brad Carpenter trying to shorten that what would you call that, a jump start on the restarts that Mr. Bellamy keeps doing. Yeah, he keeps jumping the starts, but I mean, if that's something that the league allows, then there's nothing against it. But we do have Shane Britzman looking to take second place away from Carpenter, because it seems like Carpenter might be overdriving his car a little bit too much to try and catch up to Bellamy. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. It looks like Carpenter's line coming out of the turns is a little bit higher than normal, where looks like he's about to lose his position too. Britzman coming up very shortly. And it looks like we have Casey Tillman back in 5th place. He's definitely moving on up from that B main, and it looks like Travis McKinney's in 6th place. Have a nice little battle with Cameron Doyle in 7th. But it looks like everything's starting to pan out and
battle for second. Sorry to cut you off there, but Sean Brightsman in the number 46 machine has gotten himself up into the second position, got around Brad Carpenter in that number 31 machine. So that's a move right there for position. And now we'll step to see what Brightsman can do with the number 20 of Bellamy, who so far has pretty much led this entire race, not the entire race so far, but pretty much all of it, a good majority.
Yeah, before I went back to 5th place and stuff like that, I sort of saw this coming with the 31. It just seemed like he was overdriving the car too much, where like it looks like he's about to lose a position to 44 coming up. Like the 31 car just does not look good coming out of these corners, out of turn 4 and turn 2. Like it's just, he's losing so much ground where like, I don't know if he's already burnt up his tires. I don't know like what his mindset or what his car's actually doing, but this isn't looking good for Carpenter. I wouldn't be surprised with Casey Tillman, Gormley, McKinney, Doyle, Paulson behind, that he's probably going to be looking at like a 9th, 10th place by the time it's competitive caution. And it looks like Gormley is looking underneath the 31 car, and they're side by side now, and it looks like he's going to cleanly take this position real quick. So I don't know, Brad Carpenter might have burned up his tires or something, but man, he's just not looking good coming down these corners. I'm definitely afraid for him that he's just going to fall back to where, you know, he's going to be 10th or 11th spot, starting in the 6th spot. Like maybe he used up too much of his tires, because now he's got Casey Tillman knocking on the door looking to pass him. And if he can't hold that low line coming out of the corners, then he's going to have a lot of trouble coming up with Tillman and McKinney just right there, right behind him, ready to take that spot away from him. And it looks like Sean Britzman's in 2nd place is catching up to Bellamy, where he's able to chase him down, and it looks like he's about to take the inside line away from Bellamy coming out of the corner. So this looks like the prime spot where the inexperienced driver is losing times to the experienced drivers, is coming out of the turns. It seems like Britzman, Gormley, Tillman, McKinney, Doyle, they're getting more speed coming out of the turns, but they're not losing too much speed going into the turns, if that makes any sense. So they're definitely, like, I wouldn't be surprised within 10 laps Britzman passed Bellamy. Like, he doesn't look like he's overdriving the car. Maybe right there he got a little loose, but yeah, looks like Nick Bellamy might be driving his tires off his car, which I would definitely be afraid of that. Looks like we have an interesting battle back in the 8th and 9th spot. We got Paulson and Huffines going at it with the 82 of Bart Hector Jr. going at it. I definitely didn't like that from Huffines. He got a little too tight, got on that high line, and looks like he's running a little bit higher than normal. But then it looks like the 80 car, Paulson, got loose coming out of turn 4. So definitely keep an eye on that race as they're going on. Let's see here, going through the field. Oh, looks like we got 48 and the 6 going at it. We got McKinney from 2nd place of the B main racing with Cameron Doyle, and it looks like the 92 car of Tillman is sort of getting caught up in that too, where it looks like McKinney is sort of stuck on that high line where Doyle might take that spot away from him, just because the high line's not really that good here. Doesn't matter how much grip you have in that high line. The fact of the matter, on half mile ovals, high lines are normally not that good.
Yeah, and of course this battle between the 6 and the 48 just will not go away. So we have a side-by-side battle for your race lead. The number 46, Sean Brightsman, as you said, Charles, you wouldn't be surprised. Well, I'll tell you what, Brightsman's there. He's knocking on the inside door of that number 20 machine of Nick Bellamy as they come out of turn number 4. But Bellamy's going to shut the door here, going off into turn number 1. That number 20.
Yeah, it looked like Brightsman drove it in too hard going into 3 and 4. He tried to capitalize that position where he should have just patient, because he's been patient. He's not overdriving the car, but it looks like trying to pass him, he's getting a little impatient. He just wants a complete pass, and that's where he's losing his ground on Bellamy. So Bellamy's doing a good job, and it looks like we have a caution.
We do have a caution out on the racetrack. Oh, it's Garrett Huffines and Casey Tillman who have got, Dylan Huffines and Casey Tillman, the other of the two Huffines brothers. And wow, they were 3 wide there coming out of turn number 4, and I don't think the number 92 realized the number 7 was down there. Not 100% sure. We'll have to see if we can get an aerial view of this one. Oh, the number 92 was already out of shape, and ooh, yeah, it looks like the 92 might have just broken loose there, and just came down, unfortunately, into the side of number 7. There you see the number 6 machine got into the back of the 92, so that was Cameron Doyle, and it heated up the rear tires of that number 92 machine, and it's kind of a snowballing effect. Excuse the pun of the Snowball Derby, but it's a snowball
I don't
effect.
even know if it was the tires. He just took a kind of aggressive line. I'm looking at the replay right here. He was like on the high line with the 6 underneath him, and he sort of just put it down in the corner, and it looks like the 6 and the 92 got contact. But if I was to put fault there, it would definitely be on the 92, because he just came down on the high line when the 6, he might have not known the 6 was there, or his spotter told him that, you know, it was clear and didn't register that it wasn't clear. But he definitely, like, he tried to diamond that turn, and that was not the time to diamond it with the 6 of Doyle right underneath him. So that's pretty unfortunate. It doesn't look like Doyle has that much damage on him. He's still in 6th position. Let me see if I can get a good look.
So I think what happened, like you said, the 92 came down on the nose of the 6, and then that, of course, got the 92 sideways, heated up those tires, and then when Casey tried to get the power down, there was just no grip there, and it span down into the side of the number 7 of Dylan Huffines. Not quite sure where his brother is this week. Of course, Garrett Huffines, also a regular here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Product, but at least for tonight, we only have Dylan in the number 7 machine out there on the racetrack. So that is unfortunate to see that Garrett is not in this one, but nonetheless, we had a fantastic battle for the race lead there just before this yellow flag was out. Casey Tillman in the number 92 has entered pit lane to get some of that damage repaired. Also, Chris Meringue and Dylan Huffines are going to come down and get their damage repaired as well, I should say. Seth Frazier is on pit lane right now. Maybe he's trying to get some of that damage repaired. Remember, he was a lap down earlier in this race with that very festive Peanuts Charlie Brown Christmas machine out there. Pretty cool to see that, but still trying to get damage repaired. Looks like Chris Meringue's going to lose a lap. Dylan Huffines is going to lose a lap as well. Casey Tillman's going to stay on the lead lap. Ellie Musgrave is your lucky dog, so Ellie's back on the lead.
And here
lap.
we go. Bellamy off to his normal jump on the restarts. 46 and the 44 are second and third. Trying to chase him down, and they quickly close the gap between first and second right there. Just chasing him down. Oh, it looks like 20 is a little higher than normal. I don't know if he was loose on entry there, but that definitely did not look good for the 20. But then we got Ryan in the 44 car battling it for Bretzman in the second spot. So this is definitely a nice top 3 battle right here.
And Gormley's going to use that high line. Remember, we saw in the B main that the high line eventually came in, and that was after about 60 green flag laps or so. Well, we've had quite a few cautions here in this A main so far, so I kind of expect to see that high line start to come in about now or so. And I'm kind of surprised no one quite has been able to make it work like we saw out of Travis McKinney in the B main. But McKinney now inside the top 5. Remember, he was right behind both Cameron Doyle and Casey Tillman, 92, who just went around. So he's now inherited a top 5 position right there behind Brad Carpenter in the 31. So far, so good for Brad Carpenter. Started this A main in 6th, still running in 4th. Made a charge up to the front early on. But for Nick Bellamy, I've been very, very surprised at that number 20 machine with just how well he's been driving this race. It's been so far so good for that machine. Looking a little bit further back, this is side-by-side action. Travis Barnes trying to go for that Rookie of the Year title, battling Ryan Gormley for that. Doing side-by-side action with Bart Hector Jr. in that 82 machine. 82 on the outside, still trying to hold tough, but Barton's got a good run there through 1 and 2. I think he's going to clear him here as they go off into turn number 3.
So we got a good race here for the lead, where Sean Bretzman is looking underneath it, and he's getting side-by-side with Nick Bellamy in the 20 car. As they're coming out of turn 2, they're still side-by-side. It looks like Nick Bellamy's got a nice little lead on him, but it looks like Nick Bellamy is still going to be the race lead, making that high line work. Sean Bretzman is having a little bit of trouble with that low line, just being able to complete this pass where Nick Bellamy is able to defend it off with the high line.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Bretzman just doesn't seem to be able to get the power down as well as he needs to. He got the power down pretty good out of turn number 4 that last time. We'll see what he can do coming out of turn number 2. And sure enough, he got the power down. And I think...
Oh, Bellamy said, no, sir. You're not taking it away that easy.
Bellamy just... Oh, wow, look at that wiggle out of the back end of that number 46 machine. Bretzman, last time by, was 9/1000ths of a second behind Nick Bellamy. Bellamy led that lap by just 9/1000ths of a second. We'll see what they can do this time, but Bellamy seems to be clawing his way back in front here just a little bit. But
both cars seem to be shaking coming out too, and then we have Ryan Gormley coming into the mix with the 31 Brad Carpenter as well. This can get very dicey very quick for one of these drivers. Oh, it looks like we got a caution on the track.
Chris Meringue and the 00's gone around in number 1 facing backwards. And we'll have to see who iRacing scores as your race leader. I think it's scoring Nick Bell. Ooh, contact there, Adam Hall. We'll have to get that one from another angle. But that looked a little interesting between those two. Okay, so Meringue. Let's see here on the 3-wide TV replay. He got loose.
00 got loose coming out of 4. And then 91 was on the high line. Dodged him. Yeah. I wouldn't put the blame on anyone. You could blame the 0, but that if you're putting the blame on 0, that's more of a he didn't know he gave it too much throttle coming out of the turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, so that's a tough break for him. We'll have to see who. Oh my goodness, there was another accident under pacing. And it has hit 2 drivers very, very hard. The 82 of Bart Hector Jr. and I think the 11 of Kyle Franklin. Just as they got around the slow car of Chris Meringue, something happened to Bart Hector Jr. Ooh, BJ Tidrick involved as well. I've never seen anything like this. It might have happened just there. There's the 72. Okay, we're still trying to get this replay sorted out here. But Bart Hector Jr. and BJ Tidrick both receiving quite a bit of damage from this.
Oh, it looked like the 82 may have just stopped paying attention and just hit the side wall. And then, unfortunately, the other car, let me see, who was the other car that hit?
The 72 of Tidrick. We're watching the replay now. There's the 82 going into the wall there, and it looked like it just stopped the car. Like the 82 just came to a halt.
He unfortunately, you don't want to say this, but he may have been distracted and may have picked up a phone or something like that. But I'm watching the replay now. He's turning, and then he just turns into the wall. Like, I mean, he must have been preoccupied with something, unfortunately. And you hate to see that because now the 72 sort of got affected too with Tidrick there, because Tidrick looks like he's in 12th position in points. Definitely can't afford this hit, but I mean, he's in 11th right now, but hopefully that doesn't cause any long-term damage for this entire race. But I mean, we do have the competition caution coming up in about 35 to 50 more laps to go. We're currently on lap 99 right now of 300. So thank you to all of our sponsors here with Kustom Fab for sponsoring the race, the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby. This is the 2nd annual. They sponsored us last year. Great to have them back again. Go check them out. And it looks like we're here in the green flag run. And Nick Bellamy,
green flag back in the air. Sorry to cut you off there, but Nick Bellamy once again getting away to a good start. Sean Brightsman in second, Gormley third, Brad Carpenter fourth, Cameron Doyle now sits in the fifth position. Travis McKinney has slid back into sixth, and here comes Brightsman once again side by side for the race lead. This is pretty much where we left off when that caution flag flew. But they're side by side, and I think Brightsman's going to take it here. He's got it easy going off into turn number 3.
Oh, and then Gormley's
new race leader.
Gormley looks like he's about to take that door, that position. Brightsman opened up that door, and Gormley was like, hey, I'll go through that door too, Bellamy. Thank you. Right here, they're racing side by side for second, but they're keeping up with Brightsman. So Brightsman's not able to pull away with these two racing side by side for second place. This is definitely a good race. It looks like Gormley is able to squeak out a little bit. Let's see if he can complete the pass going into 3. No, Bellamy said, no, I'm not going to make it that easy for y'all. I can ride the high line too. They're right there, neck and neck and quarter panel, but it looks like going into turn 1 and 2, Gormley was able to make the pass and complete it. So right now we have a new leader, Sean Brightsman in first, Ryan Gormley in second, and Nick Bellamy falls to third place. And it looks like we have an interesting race in the back here with Travis Barnes, second place in the Rookie of the Year standings, battling Travis McKinney for that 6th spot. They're racing side by side. Looked like McKinney was getting kind of loose coming into turn 1 a couple laps ago, and Barnes was able to take advantage of that and get underneath him. They're still racing side by side. This is door to door. Neither driver. And it looks like the 2 positions in front of them, the 31 and the 6, are going side by side as well. Brad Carpenter and Cameron Doyle. We are having a very good side by side races with currently on lap 107 of 300 right now of the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby.
Now we have to remember Travis Barnes was actually he got way loose there coming out of turn number 4. He was actually the fastest qualifier for tonight's Snowball Derby. So, you know, Travis making his way up through the field, I'm not all too surprised just because of that pace he had both in practice. Remember, he was second fastest in the practice that we had leading into this A-main. So Travis is quick. He's just biding his time. It's a long race, slowly but surely. Now on the precipice of working his way into the top 5, just behind Cameron Doyle in the 6 machine. But man, that number 8 machine still sliding all the way around this racetrack. There is Cameron Doyle sitting inside the top 5 for now. Started this race in the 10th position, worked his way up slowly but surely, now riding behind the number 31 of Brad Carpenter. Carpenter's been in the top 3 for most of this race, now running in 4th, but Doyle...
Looks like he's trying to take that low line from him.
Yeah, I was going to say, Doyle just kind of opened up that door just a little bit, putting that nose in underneath, and I'll tell you what, Cameron Doyle here starting to make some noise here in the middle to late portion of this run. Remember, we're now only about 39 laps away from what will be the halfway caution flag, kind of the halftime break, so all these cars can come down, get fresh tires and fuel so they can make it to the end of tonight's 300 lap race. But if you're just joining us, there is no tire changes until the halfway mark. And after the halfway mark, they're not allowed to change tires after that. It's only 1 tire change in this race. These tires will be 150 laps old, but Cameron Doyle now sitting in the 4th position. Will he be able to run down the 3rd place car of Nick Bellamy? Only time will tell. We're now 38 laps away from that halfway distance.
This is definitely a losing race for Brad Carpenter, in my opinion. Definitely looks very inconsistent as he goes for the low line on Cameron Doyle. I take my words back. I'm sorry, Brad Carpenter, for saying that about you. But I was comparing him to Doyle and Barnes's lines and consistency, where he just seems super inconsistent compared to the number 6 of Doyle that's in front of him and the number 8 of Barnes is behind him. So here we go. We got Barnes looking. He's not able to get it, but he does have some speed on him. And I'm sort of afraid of Brad Carpenter in this race. I just don't like his consistency, where I wouldn't be surprised again 5-7 laps from now Travis Barnes is going to end up passing him. And it looks like we have the 82 of Bart Hector in 8th place, trying to take a position away from Travis McKinney in 7th place. And we have a caution.
Oh, a couple cars around And those are two drivers who transferred in from the B main,
Oh,
Brad
that's-
Morrison and Josh Robinson out there. Let's see, ooh, 26 got it to the back of the 47, but it looked like the 47 checked up there. Josh Robinson there coming out of turn number 4. Let's see this from the helicopter cam. Here we go, coming out of turn number 4 now, and the 47, yeah, really checked up. 26 tried to check up there of Robinson, of Morrison, excuse me, but wasn't quite able to do so. Let's see here on the onboard replay from Ellie Musgrave. Just riding on board there. You see the 47 gets really high, and the 26 checks up, unable to do anything about it. And unfortunately, both the 26 and the 47 will go spinning into the inside wall. It does look like one or both of them will get damage. And Sean Brightsman, your race leader on pit road here. A couple of takers on pit road. BJ Tiderick, he's got damage, but why would your race leader, Sean Brightsman, come down pit road? This is an interesting situation. Let's see. Once he gets back onto the racetrack, we'll see if we can dial him up and ask him if there's any method to his madness out there. But he is back out on racetrack right now. Still out there. He'll be scored as the last car on the lead lap, I do believe. And once he gets back into line with the back of the field, we'll see if we can drag him up here into the 3-wide TV booth and see what he has to say. He might have taken fuel. I don't know.
Are you allowed to take fuel? Does anyone know?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think you can. Let's dial him up. Let's see what he has to say here in this this under caution. Sean Brightsman, Peter Short up here in the 3-wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy?
Well, man, we just saw you down on pit road, and you're coming down again. The only thing we can think of is you're coming down to take fuel, but is there something else amiss with that 46?
Oh, you're nail on the head right there. I am grabbing some fuel here. That way, during the competition caution, I can just grab tires and hopefully regain the lead.
So interesting to see that. I'm guessing the tires are a shorter pit stop than the actual fuel. So getting that out of the way here, topping off, you're under this caution, but you're good to go from here?
Yeah, we should be good to go to the end. Might have to save just a little here at this point, but I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, that's some great racing up there. I definitely like how you passed Nick Bellamy for that lead. I definitely saw that where you're just doing your thing. So looks like we're one to go. So we're going to let you have at it, buddy, and good luck.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, well, caution lights are off, and we'll see if that works out for Sean Brightsman or not, because now he's buried in the back of the field, almost a half lap down as your race leader is just now coming out of turn number 4. Brightsman just going into turn number 3. Green flag back in the air, and Ryan Gordley is now your race leader here in Pensacola, Florida at 5 Flags for the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby. Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. If you're just now joining us here on YouTube, welcome to 3-Wide TV. Great action here tonight at 5 Flags, and these drivers here in the Snowball Derby and the Northwest Tour, man, they know how to get it done. There we see the number 8 machine, Travis Barnes. He's worked his way now up into the 5th position. There's the 82, Bart Hector. Remember, Hector had that issue of pacing just a few laps ago, and he is currently being scored in the 7th position, right behind the number 48 of Travis McKinney. McKinney, of course, transferring over from the B main that we saw earlier in the night, and therefore Hector trying to work his way forward. There's the number 23, Ellie Musgrave, starting to work forward. In fact, the 23 is the first car 1 lap down, so if we were to see another caution,
Travis Barnes trying to take the position away from Brad Carpenter.
Yeah, I think that that could be interesting, but looks like Cameron Doyle has moved in on the number 20 machine. Travis Barnes and Brad Carpenter doing battle for the 4th place currently. And remember, Travis Barnes, fastest in qualifying, inverted the field, started this race in 15th. They invert the top 15 or 16, depending on any
and it looks like we've got Bart Hector taking 6th position away from Travis McKinney. Let's see if he is able to complete the pass. And it looks like the number 4, Shane Quinn's there, ready to go through that open door that Bart Hector opened up by passing Travis McKinney. But McKinney is being stubborn on that outside line, and it looks like we got a caution
couple of cars around on the back stretch, including BJ Tidrick,
Oh.
Musgrave, and Brian Lambert looked like they were all involved. Let's see what happened here to BJ Tidrick. And oh my goodness, a 23. Oh my goodness, and Tidrick upside down. And that's not what Tidrick wanted to have happen.
So looks like the 72 got loose coming out of turn 3, hit the apron, and sort of just went up into the 23, and 23 hit the wall and came back down. And it was, unfortunately, the 57 was just collateral damage. Wrong place, wrong time for the 57. So yeah, they came off the 72. Yeah, 72 just riding that super low line and hitting that apron and got loose and got into the 23, and they both collected up into the 52. Or I'm sorry, the 57.
Going on board with Ellie Musgrave, goes to the outside. Nothing that Ellie could do there. And into the inside wall, you see that 72 going up and over, gives the gyro cam a little bit of a workout here just a minute ago. But for BJ Tidrick, that number 72 machine was crabbing back to pit road, and it looks like everyone's coming down pit road. And I'm looking at my lap counter here, and interestingly enough here, Charles, this is not the competition or the halfway yellow, I should say. So I think a lot of these drivers trying to do what Brightsman's doing. In fact, Brightsman on
No,
pit
it
road
looks like they're all taking
again.
tires. This might be the competition yellow if everyone's taking tires.
Interesting, yes, everyone is taking tires. So that's interesting to see that everyone is taking tires here. So I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought it was going to be between like lap 130, but I guess it is kind of early. Who's going to win the race off pit road? Is it Gormley? Looks like Gormley's going to win the race off pit road. I think Brightsman didn't gain as much benefit as he was hoping, taking fuel a little bit earlier than some of these other guys, because Brightsman pitted from the race lead a little while ago, and now it looks like he's going to be scored around the 5th or 6th position. Looks like someone, the 20 of Bellamy, having some connection issues. But looks like Gormley will be your race leader in that number 44 Wrestler Motorsports
But to
machine.
be fair, right before that pit stop, Bretsman was scored at 16th. So right now it looks like he's in 10th. So I'm not sure if that's right or not, because it's got Thomas O'Hara at first. Yeah. But I mean, Bretsman was in 16th place, so he did gain some positions off of that. Now, was it worth the race lead? Probably not. So now he's showing at 6th when it's all caught up now and after the pit stops are done. So who knows? I mean, he worked his way up to first place earlier. So now he says he has enough fuel to make it to the end. So this is his chance to see if that pit strategy worked. To be fair, I don't know if I would have done that pit strategy, but maybe he thought there was going to be a caution a little bit later in the race. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but caution flag has been thrown again. Looks like we have some lappers that need to move around the pace car and whatnot here under this caution flag.
Yeah, to be fair, that strategy, like, if he thinks he's faster than the 5 people in front of him, which obviously, you know, he was in 2nd place for a good while, and we eventually saw him overtaking Bellamy. This could be a good strategy. He's definitely one of the faster guys on the track, or at least the most consistent with the line movement. He had a little troubles taking first place away from Nick Bellamy, where he looked a little loose or a little reckless, but I think that was just because he was just trying to be aggressive and take the lead, because it is really hard to pass on this half-mile track right here.
Yeah, looks like admins are having to sort out some things under yellow, so they've extended this caution flag here just a little bit. Of course, it does appear this will be the halfway caution flag. So now, instead of having to go 150 laps on tires, these drivers will have to go 160 laps plus on tires to close out this race. Looks like they've extended the yellow again. You saw the pace car lights turn off there briefly, but Ryan Gormley is your race leader in that number 44 machine. Seth Frazier in the number 32 machine. How about Seth? I mean, Seth transferred over from that B main and is currently being scored in 2nd. Cameron Doyle 3rd. Bart Hector Jr. 4th. Nick Bellamy 5th. Sean Brightsman 6th. Thomas O'Hara, remember, started this A-Main from the pole position, being scored in 7th currently. Christopher Hine, Casey Tillman, and Shane Quinn. So there's some interesting stories there inside the top 10 now. Some of drivers, ooh man, there's Kyle Franklin taking the wave around here in the number 11 GX machine. And you saw that car flash past the pace car there as we're still being extended under this yellow flag. So I think Adam's really trying to get this stuff sorted out. Ellie Musgrave, unfortunately, in the number 23 machine, looks like the night is done for both Ellie and BJ Tidrick. Adam Holm currently being scored 6 laps down in the 911 machine. Still out there on the racetrack, being scored in 21st. Chris Meringue in the 00, 4 laps down, coming back down pit road to get even more damage fixed. Chris's night has not gone to his liking. Of course, getting into tonight's A-Main via means of a points provisional. But looks like we're going to go green flag racing finally.
Looks like we're taking one more lap at least. Administrators are trying to sort things out and make sure everyone's in good positions, no black flags, everything like that. So while we have one more lap added to this caution, we'll go ahead and thank our sponsors, Kustom Fabs, for sponsoring the Snowball Derby for the Northwest Tour. They have a great Facebook page. They do a lot of cool, nifty things. Go check them out. Kustom Fab LLC on Facebook. Definitely providing a bunch of trophies for this event. It is definitely a cool look for us. And also, let you guys know of Pyrotech offering 3 helmets to the points winner, the Rookie of the Year, and I don't know what the third one is. If anyone, one random.
I think it's just it's a random driver, some random draw or something, but nonetheless.
All right, so it looks like the pace car is in, and we are off to the races.
So yeah, Gormley got a fantastic start there, and that number 44 machine just stumped out to a huge gap.
Yeah, we got Seth Frazier in 2nd, Cameron Doyle in 3rd, Hector in 4th, and Bellamy rounding out in top 5, with Gormley just pulling away. Fastest guy in practice. That's a dangerous man to have on that front position, that pole position on the restarts. Looks like back here we got Brettsman trying to do some work, take away the 5th spot away from Bellamy. Bellamy's having some connection issues, but it looks like Brettsman's able to take that position away from him and work his way back up front, and he's up to 5th now. So who knows, maybe that pit strategy worked out. He doesn't have to wait.
Looks like we have Chris Meringue back on pit road in the 00 machine. He's been out there trying to get that 00 up to pace, but unable to do so. And Meringue will drop many laps down here. It does appear Adam Holm will come around and take the 20th position from Meringue. We'll have to see if the 00 is calling it a night, but look at that number 47 of Josh Robinson. Remember, Robinson got into it not too long ago with Brad Morrison in the 26 machine, and that 47 just does not seem to be on pace here.
Man, and just looking at number 8 of Travis Barnes, he's back here now. That's sort of a heartbreaker with Travis McKinney, Brian Lambert, James Polson. These are people that were running up front. Oh yeah, Brian Lambert was the 57 car that was involved in that accident, just being a collateral damage, just being there. And it looks like he's about to get passed by Travis McKinney, and it looks like Travis Barnes is going to go through that door as well that he opened. But Travis McKinney did not have a good turn 1 and 2. But it looks like he's able to hold that bottom line and keep the 57 of Brian Lambert up on that high line. Let's see if Dylan Huffines is able to take that, and it looks like he does not, and the 57 cuts off Dylan from being able to lose another position.
Meanwhile, back up at the front, Bart Hector Jr. looks like he's going to take the 3rd position from Cameron Doyle. Now Doyle under pressure from the 46 of Brightsman, so Brightsman will get underneath that number 6 machine here going off into turn number 3, move Brightsman back up into the 4th position, so he's recovering nicely after that little hiccup.
Yeah, Bellamy looked like he took turn 3 a little too aggressive and tried to keep Doyle up there in the high line so he can take that spot away from him, but he was not able to do that. But very impressive from Brutzman. He's all the way back up to 4th now, so we're definitely looking good, and it looks like they're chasing down the 82 of Seth Frazier. who knows? Maybe by the end of the race, 46 Bretzman has the lightest car because he has the least amount of fuel in his car. He did say he had to baby it a little bit, so I mean, we'll see where he starts babying it out at. But he can't let that 44 get away because it looks like that 44 is way up there with a 8-10 second lead on the 32 of Seth Frazier, followed by the 82 of Bart Hector, and then 46 of Sean Bretzman.
The 72 and the 23 crews, both BJ Tidrick's and Ellie Musgraves' crews, both went to work, and both of those cars are back out on the racetrack. 72 scored 11 laps down, the 23 being scored 21 laps down, so they're being scored 22nd and 23rd. Chris Meringue still... Chris Meringue's back out on the racetrack, but as I say that, Meringue slammed the inside wall there going off into turn number 1. So I think Meringue's car is just, it's holding on here, and Meringue's car just not driving well at all. You can see him, it looks like he's just wallowing down the front straight, getting loose there off into turn number 1. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that suspension being absolutely toast. Here he goes through turn number 3 and 4. Let's see if anything happens here down the front stretch. Yo, man, look at it. Look at, whoa. He's still trying to save it. Jeez. Chris Meringue struggling in that 00 machine. I'm surprised he hasn't called it quits, but he's going to wrestle that 00 around the racetrack for as long as he can.
Yeah, it's one of those spots where you hate to tell someone that they got to take it off, but I mean, if he ends up being an endangerment, and it looks like Musgrave was just in the pits right there, so like maybe they're just calling it quits, or maybe they're still getting some stuff figured out. To be fair, no offense to Musgrave, like when Musgrave was in the top, it just sort of seemed like uncomfortable, like it just wasn't comfortable with that spot that Musgrave was in. Oh, we do have a race here for 8th position as Casey Tillman, Shane Quinn, and Brad Carpenter are all getting bunched up here coming out of turn 4. And just let you guys know, Casey Tillman was getting loose coming out too. And the reason why I'm sort of going into this battle right here, his car does not look that good coming out of the turns. Like Shane Quinn's looking to get underneath him, but Casey Tillman's doing a good job holding that line. I'm not sure if that was contact there, but Shane Quinn did have to check up there kind of hard. And with Brad Carpenter right behind him in 10th place, this is a battle that Shane Quinn needs to be careful, because if he gives up the inside line to Mr. Carpenter will take that position away very quickly. Shane Quinn's trying to take the inside line from him.
Yeah, well, remember early in the race, Casey Tillman made a charge up to the front and then got involved in a couple of accidents, and that number 92 just doesn't quite seem to have the pace that it had earlier in the night. Remember, Tillman led the B-main flag to flag here earlier at 5 Flags Speedway, and just all that damage on the front end. Oh, Tillman loose,
yeah.
Gets a little bit of a nudge there from the 4 machine, goes up
like
the racetrack
Carpenter's
in the outside wall.
He rode that wall from stripe to look like middle of turn 1. That was not a good look. We'll go over the replay right here. Where
yeah, you see 92 just got loose there going, and Brad Carpenter followed him up into the wall, so both of those cars scraping the right side stickers off of them. But that has allowed Travis Barnes and the number 8 machine to scoot on through back up into the 10th position, as Travis McKinney. So McKinney's, the 2 Travises still together out there on the racetrack, and I think they kind of got shuffled out because of the pit strategy situation. Remember, they were running about 5th or 6th before the halfway caution flag, but now they're back in 9th and 10th, and see if they can close in on the back of Shane Quinn. Shane Quinn now trying to go to work on the back of Thomas O'Hara. O'Hara still running in the 7th position, which is where he restarted here just about 20 laps ago or so. And it's now under a pretty good green flag run here. Hopefully that doesn't jinx it, but your race leader, Ryan Gormley, starting to close in on lap traffic. There is Gormley. Oh, Chris Meringue in the 00 machine. really, really slow there on the front stretch, and he's really struggling with that race car. We saw it there about 10 laps ago or so. He's just going to pull to the inside and let all of your leaders through here. That's a pretty wise and gentlemanly thing to do for Chris Brang. We'll see if he heads down pit road or not here. No, he stays out. But for right now, Gormley closing in on the back of Adam Holm in the 911 machine. So it'll be interesting to see if this lap traffic starts to, kind of factor into the equation here, because
it
Seth
looks like it
Frazier
is
closing in on the 44.
Yeah, the 32 of Seth Frazier is closing the door. He had looked like almost a 7/10 gap between him and Ryan, but he's closed it up to where it's only 0.46 seconds behind Ryan. But it looks like there's no more lap traffic for a little ways, so maybe Ryan can get that lead back.
Now we have this battle on the screen, but for the third position between Bart Hector and Sean Brightsman. So Brightsman still continuing his charge back towards the front. He's going to go around that number 82 machine.
Makes that pass easy. Mr. Brightsman made that pass look easy. Bart Hector. Bart Hector could not hold that top line. Maybe it's because of these newer tires. They haven't been worn in yet, where the top line mixed with the rubber, just not a good combination for that top line. That top line does not look good right now for any of these drivers looking at it. But Brightsman is doing some work. He's up to third, but now he's got a 1.6 deficit from the leader, and he's more than a second behind second place car of Seth Frazier. So we got to see what happens there. It looks like the rest of them are just front to back. We got Brad Carpenter here trying to do some kind of work, but he's got Huffines right behind him, but then he's got Casey Tillman in front of him slowing down. It looks like the 75 might have got loose somewhere, losing a lot of positions on the high side of Carpenter and Huffines, where he's just losing positions. Let me see if I can find out what happened to what happened to O'Hara.
Now remember, O'Hara was running in the 7th position only about 10 laps ago, so O'Hara has fallen like a stone here in the past 10 to 15 laps. It was racing with the number 4 machine of Shane Quinn for 7th, and now O'Hara finds himself back in 13th, started this race on the pole.
Yeah, it looks like O'Hara just got stuck on that high line and just could not get down, could not get good control, and just lost it all. Like, I'm not sure if O'Hara burned out his right side tires very early. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but that was a drastic drop, and it didn't seem like anything too serious. Just a couple wiggles here and there, but just stuck on that high line that just, I guess with the newer tires and the rubber on the tracks, it's just not a good combination right now. You got to get a couple more laps in before you can actually hold that high line. That high line's a dangerous place right now, as Gormley is pulling up on the 47 car of Josh Robinson, looking to put them a lap down, with Seth Frazier behind. Seth Frazier's deficit is only down to 0.38 seconds. So lap traffic is starting to come into effect, as you see the 26 cars in front of that already a lap down, but the 32 is definitely doing some work in using the lap traffic to the advantage, where Seth Frazier's not getting caught up on the lap traffic as much as Ryan is, because Ryan's the first one to get there. He's got to make the move and check up and, sort of playing out where he's going to go, where all Seth has to really do is just follow Ryan past the lap traffic, because the lap traffic is already going to let the leaders through.
Fastest car on track over the last 5 laps on average has actually been Shane Quinn down in the 7th position. Seth Frazier second fastest over the last 5 laps, although that continues to change lap to lap, because now Sean Brightsman now the second fastest car. But really impressed here with Shane Quinn in the number 4 machine, transferred over from the B main and now turning some very, very good laps.
Looks like he's going to complete the pass real quick on Bellamy for that 6th position. Good job, Shane Quinn, doing work. That was a pretty clean pass. I'm not going to lie, Peter. That's probably the cleanest pass I've seen all race so far.
Yeah, so Shane Quinn, can he close in on your top 5? He's now got about 2.7 seconds between himself and the 6 machine of Cameron Doyle. But of course, if another yellow comes out as he throws some sparks there all the way down to the inside wall there, coming out of the corner.
Did he hit the wall, or was that?
It kind of looked like I saw some sparks come off that car, and I was watching it go around the racetrack, and it really looked like he did. So, no, Shane Quinn trying to find some grip down there right by the wall. Oh, we got a wreck! The 92 Casey Tillman is around on the front stretch. You saw it right there on 3Y TV, and he is straight to pit road here. Let's see what happens. You're racing side by side with the 31 machine. Oh, and 92 just got loose coming out of the corner. Unfortunately, the number 80 machine there, James Paulson, had nowhere to go. And I think Paulson's still out there on the racetrack. A lot of front end damage, but Hillman has already taken that machine to pit road. Boom. And man, if I was Madden, let's say, boom, tough accident or something like that. But boy, I'll tell you what, that is some tough break there for the number any of James Paulson. See quite a bit of damage on the front end of that number 80 machine here, but we're back under caution here at 5 Flags. Josh Robinson will be your lucky dog. We'll be back on the lead lap in that 47 machine. Just went down a lap a little bit ago. Ryan Gorman, the race leader.
We had some incidents on the caution lap. The 911 car spun out, and it looks like the 31 of Brad Carpenter got held up by it. Let me see what happened. I'm going over the replay. Coming down turn 4, and oh, it looks like the 8 of Travis Barnes just got in the back of 911 and just spun him out under caution.
Yeah, there was a little bit of net code there. You see, it looked like there was a little bit of daylight between them, but the 80 machine of Paulson was trying to get himself turned around, and so Holmes slowed down for it. And unfortunately, Barnes, you see, Barnes completely locked him up. And that's just a bad place, bad time for the number 8 machine and the 911 machine. Looks like they didn't get too much damage, though, which is the good news from that. But I'm sure Adam Holm will be a little bit disappointed, although that 911 machine is already 7 laps down, kind of out of the picture, at least for tonight's win, as we're now down to 111 laps to go. Only about 55.5 miles, as this is a half-mile racetrack, so not too long of a distance. We can get that done here in probably about 30 to 40 minutes if we go green. There doesn't look like there's going to be a time issue because this server is open for 2.5 hours. We're just now getting to the halfway distance from a time perspective, so unless this last half of the race is just completely a caution fest, we won't have a time issue, and we will see the full distance in tonight's Snowball Derby.
So it looks like we got the 1 to go coming around out of turn number 2. We got Ryan Gormley. Wow, I apologize. I'm having a hard time with that name. Seth Frazier in number 2. Shane Brexman in 3rd position. Mark Hector in 4th position, and Cameron Doyle rounds out your top 5. Shane Quinn in 6th, and here we go. We are off to the races. All of this, and it looks like we have Doyle. Doyle was on the high line and was able to hold off Shane Quinn, but Shane Quinn's right there knocking at the door. The rest of the top 5 looks like they're filing out. Looks like we have the number 8, Travis Barnes, getting caught up with Mr. Bellamy, and the 48, Travis McKinney. You make one mistake there, McKinney's able to take that position away from you, and number 8 needs to be careful not to overdrive the corners, because we have seen Travis McKinney drive the tires off his car where he is not afraid to pass anyone.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if that number 4 machine now can work his way forward. Remember, I'd highlighted the fact that he was the fastest car on the racetrack on that long run, kind of from an average lap time perspective, and here he goes.
It looks like
underneath.
he's taking a position away from Doyle right now.
Yeah, he's going underneath that number 6 machine and just trying to use that low line to his advantage. We've seen most of the passes here tonight on that inside groove. You have to be patient though down there. You don't want to put the power down too much. You just kind of have to
Yeah.
wait for that outside line to falter. It will. You just have to just keep your nose underneath that number 6 machine lap after lap, and it does. There you go. The number 4 machine all but clears Cameron Doyle coming out of turn number 4.
And Bellamy's going in there. And keeping the number 6 of Doyle up on that high line. Let's see if Bellamy can stick it on the low line. Oh, looks like
Bellamy's been good.
Too tight.
Bellamy's been good with that all night long. You know, we've seen Bellamy have make some opportune passes when, especially after he kind of got shuffled back a little bit. He was right there trying to make the move on other people, make that opportune pass when someone else opens up the door. But
Ooh, Bellamy just got loose coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, got really sideways. Going to have to corral that number 20 machine, possibly cool off those rear tires, just drive a little bit easier here for a lap or two until that number 20 gets back underneath him. But Bellamy's had a really good job. He's done a good job. He was up, of course, led quite a few laps early in the show. Still just outside the top 5, but we'll have to see if he can follow Shane Quinn. Shane Quinn's put a couple of car links on that number 20 machine as Quinn now trying to close in on the back bumper of Bart Hector Jr. Of course, Hector Jr. up there in points. Not too many points behind Ryan Gormley is Bart Hector Jr. in points. He's, I think, came into tonight 7 points behind that number 44 machine, tied for 3rd in points. So Hector wanting to have a good night, and Brightsman 9th in points, wants to have a good night as well.
Yeah, talk about tied with 3rd in points. We also have Seth Frazier in 2nd place. He's the other driver that's in 3rd place in points. So with him being in 2nd place right now, he's looking to take a good lead. Oh, it looks like the 46. Oh, that's lap traffic. Oh, no. Looks like the 46 of Bretsman was able to pass Hector with a nice clean pass. I honestly thought 82 was a lap car, how quickly that pass was made. So good job on Bretsman going up to 3rd.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Frazier.
The 46 really loose in turn number 1 and 2. Got slid up the racetrack. Hector put his nose underneath, and then Hector slid up in 3 and 4, and the 46 got back underneath that 82. So a little bit of over-under from the 46, was able to hold on to that position, but he's lost a couple of car lengths on the number 32 of Seth Frazier. Seth still running in the 2nd position here, and really, Seth kind of got shuffled back in that first run a little bit in that 32 machine. Remember, he was up there early in the race, transferred over from the B main, and did a little bit of pit strategy, and now finds himself in the 2nd position outright. Good job from Seth Frazier up there.
And look who we see right behind Bart Hector is Shane Quinn. He was able to close the gap between that little scuffle that Bretsman and Hector had, and there's Shane Quinn ready to knock down the door. I mean, he did cut down some time. He was like almost 3 seconds out behind the leader. Maybe not that much, but he was definitely in like the high 2s. And now he's under 2 seconds from the leaders. He's definitely one of the faster drivers here tonight. He's definitely something to worry about. If he's able to get past Hector, Bretsman, and Frazier, you know, it seems like it might be a Gormley-Quinn show. But Quinn's got to do some work to get past the next 3 drivers between him and Gormley.
Well, we do have less than 100 laps to go, less than 50 miles here left in the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby for the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products. And Shane Quinn trying to make that move. Here's some good hard battles a little bit further back behind them. First is a side-by-side battle for 6 between Bellamy and Cameron Doyle. Bellamy trying to get that 6th position, hold on to that 6th position, I should say, from Cameron Doyle. And Dylan Huffines and Travis McKinney doing battle for the 8th position right behind them. See these fantastic camera angles. I believe these are the Sim TV camera angles. Oh, looks like Nick Bellamy having a little bit of issues there. We've seen that a couple times tonight for that number 20.
Oh, we got some
connection issues. And maybe, like you said, a little bit of bumper tag between the number 6 and the number 20 going through turn number 3 and 4. But for now, Bellamy is in 6th.
Yeah, I would be worried about that Bellamy car. He's been blinking, not too consistently, but enough this race where it could be holding up these drivers because they're just afraid to pass him. I mean, it's a good strategy for Bellamy, I guess, to lock in that sixth position, but soon enough, one of these drivers are going to get antsy and end up trying to pass him because there is almost a 3.5 second, or not 3.5 second, about a 1.5 second gap between fifth place car Shane Quinn and sixth place car Nick Bellamy. So that might be something there where Bellamy just could be holding up Doyle, Fines, and McKinney just because of the blinkingness, which could be something. Oh, and back here, it looks like we got Carpenter and McKinney going back at it. Probably round 5 of this race right now. These two giants are just going at it, where it looks like Carpenter's trying to make that high line work. He definitely seems like he's faster than McKinney, but McKinney just saying, no, sir, you are not passing me. You got to pass me low if you're trying to pass me. Does not want to be disrespected by being passed on the outside.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see. Now I'm also looking at the top 5 average laps once again, and up at the front, Seth Frazier, Sean Breitzman just a little bit faster than Ryan Gormley over these last 5 laps. Just a small little fraction of a second, but it does add up over that number 44 machine. But let's see if we can go through the field here as we have 82 laps left or so this time by, and your race leader is the number 44 machine of Ryan Gormley. Of course, had a fantastic race, started back in the where did he start? He started back in the 13th position. Should have my numbers ready for me. And now, of course, leading the race, has led the race now for a good 80 or so laps, and is continuing to pull away here. Seth Frazier, the number 32 machine, transferred over from the B main, and that number 32 machine currently riding in the 2nd position. Like I said, a little bit faster than that race leader over the last 5 laps. So Seth Frazier trying to close in to get a Snowball Derby victory here tonight. In the 3rd position, the number 46 machine of Sean Breitzman. Remember, he led the race briefly and then had come down pit road as we have a caution out on the racetrack. So we'll come back to this, but the yellow flag is out. There's a car around in the middle of 1 and 2, and it's Travis McKinney in the 48. Lots of smoke down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Ooh, we saw that battle there, Charles, and it looks like got into it with Brad Carpenter, and I don't know who's to blame on that one, but we'll have to see what happened here from the helicopter cam, and just a coming together there. I think the 48 thought that the number 31 would turn in a little bit earlier, and he didn't, and there was just a coming together.
Yeah, it seemed like the 48 of Travis McKinney just came down a little too soon. Didn't respect 31's of Brad Carpenter's car, I guess, being there. But looking at this angle, that 48 should not have been there. He was probably had his eyes on the prize. Like, he was stuck on the outside. He did not want to be passed. And it looked like going into turn 3 and 4, like he just got super tight where Carpenter was about to pass him, and he just gunned it and was hoping that he was able to pass it with that, like, I don't know what you call it, like, not a slingshot, but he just came out of turn 4, and he was just hoping that he had a lot more grip, I guess, than Mr. Carpenter. But unfortunately, that is not the case for Travis McKinney. I mean, that's a shame because we saw what Travis McKinney can do, and in the B main earlier, and it's a shame that, you know, I feel like he just overdrove the car there. He was, you know, got feelings caught up, and it's just like, I'm not letting him pass me. I'm going to fight this position till the death, and it ended up just costing him.
I mean, it's really tough. I've been in that exact same situation, Travis McKinney, because you expect the car on the inside to be down on the bottom of the racetrack, but if that car to you inside misses the mark just a little bit, pushes up, not even pushes up, but just misses the mark, you know, brakes a little bit later, drives into the corner a little bit deeper than usual, and you're not expecting it, that sort of thing happens. And I've done exactly what Travis McKinney has done multiple times in my sim racing career, and you can't quite see the cart you're inside. Your eyes are you don't have the same amount of vision, unfortunately, as you do in real life if you're racing with one monitor or not VR or anything like that. So it's difficult to see the cart you're inside. You kind of have to judge where they're going to be, and sometimes you judge it wrong. And that's what happened to Travis McKinney there.
It looks like we're about to go to green. I sort of have to agree to disagree with you with that, Peter, because he knew he was down beneath him. He could have gave him room and just took the high line. So
yeah, but you just have to, kind of know where that car is. Sometimes you want to pinch, but nonetheless, green flag is back in the air. The old saying that I have been told many times is sometimes you pinch and you pay. So I think that's kind of what was happening there. Sometimes you pinch, sometimes you pay, but nonetheless, we're back to green flag action.
And it looks like we've got Sean
stretching out,
trying to take away the position of second place from Seth Frazier. It doesn't look like he's got it now, but he's got some good exit speed. Middle of the turn to exit the turn. Sean Bretzer's car looks definitely on point, where he's got the racing groove. He's going to chase down Seth Frazier and get second place within the next couple laps. He's definitely consistent. His line, car's not wiggling, but this is the beginning of the race, or the beginning of this stint right here. But we do have the 6 of Doyle on the bottom, fighting side by side with the 20 of Nick Bellamy. Nick Bellamy's fighting tooth and nail on that high line with the 7 right behind Bellamy in the high line. And it looks like the number 8's going to get involved too, the Travis Barnes. But it looks like it's just going to be the 6 and the 20 fighting side by side. Bellamy, you know what? Hats off to Bellamy. He's able to hold his line, look consistent when he needs to be. And he's not making it easy for people to pass him on the low line. Like, he's making that high line look feasible.
Yeah, it definitely, that number 20 machine that you see right there in the screen, using that higher groove, trying to hold off the number 6 machine of Doyle. Of course, that is a battle for the 6th position, and it is the number 6 machine that wants that 6th position from Bellamy, running that very festive Charlie Brown Derby scheme as Doyle gets really slideways coming out of turn number 4. Yes, that's a technical term, slideways. And look at Travis Barnes.
Yeah, go for it about Travis.
Yeah, I was going to say, Travis Barnes there in the 8 machine trying to work his way forward. Remember, he had that track position before the halfway distance kind of got shuffled back, but Travis Barnes was one of the faster cars towards the end of that first I should say the first tire stint that we had, not necessarily a green flag stint, but that first tire stint. And Travis Barnes now starting to make his noise once again as he's trying to get around Dylan Huffines for 8th, and I think he's going to clear him here. So move Barnes in the 8th to 8th, and now trying to pass Cameron Doyle and Nick Bellamy, but Bellamy not an easy one to pass here.
No, he's definitely making it hard and making Doyle work, where it looks like Doyle might have burned up a little bit more tires, where Travis Barnes might be able to take advantage of it. There's racing front to back. Looks like the 7 of Dylan Huffines is definitely looking to take that position back. But right behind them, shout out to the number 51 of Christopher Heim, back on the lead lap, back in top 10, started in 4th, but he is doing work and being patient and understands that this is a 300 lap race, and he's back in the top 10, folks.
Very cool to see that. I mean, there's some cars out there that have quite of damage still going around and doing quite well out there right now. I mean, you look at the front end of that number 4 machine of Shane Quinn, you go, man, that looks pretty bad, but he's doing very good, very good. There's the number 7 machine, Dylan Huffines, got Dilly Dilly on the hood, getting into it maybe a little bit with Travis Barnes a little bit on the front straight, but they get things sorted out before turn number 1. So Travis Barnes still running in 8th, throwing some sparks there on the front stretch, still trying to close in on the 6 of Doyle. But this battle for the 2nd position, man, you could throw a blanket over these 4 cars. The 32, the 46, the 82, and the 4. And Shane Quinn here going to dive to the inside of Bart Hector Jr. going off into turn number 1. This is a battle for the 4th position, and Hector's just going to back out of it. Move Shane Quinn up into the 4th position here with now 59 laps to go this time by.
I like that move. Shane Quinn, Bart Hector did a smart move. He's not going to fight. He's not going to burn up his tires. He's just like, all right, I'm just going to run a line. I'm one of the top faster guys. Let's just chase down the leader. Oh, and it looks like we got something going on with the 8 car where caution
huge
came
accident.
out. Oh, we got a pile up. The 11, 31, the 80, the 8, all at the bottom of, looks like turn 2. Let's see what
right
happened.
in front of your leader here. Let's see what happened here on the 3-way TV replay. There's the 8 going around, the 26 getting involved as well. Man, a whole bunch of cars. So let's see, this right here, the 51 and the 8. And the 51 was down there on the inside. Not quite sure if the 8 checked up a little bit or whether the 51 just sent it. But there you see the 11, the 31, the 80, the 8, like you said, the 72, Tidrick getting involved.
Okay,
Tidrick multiple laps down.
So it happened the turn before. So the 8 and the 7 were racing. 8 looked like he got loose going into turn 3. And the 7 bumped into him. 8 hit pit wall. And then just slowed down. The 7 slowed down. Then the 51 and 57 were there. 8 came down and was hit by the 51. So I'm assuming that was just a turn down too early by the number 8. Not realizing the 51 was there. But yeah, that started in turn 3 and 4 where the 8 got a little loose and the 7 bumped him, and the 8 hit the pit wall on the inside and just never really got good control of the car, and going into turn 1 just came down on the 51 and just hit the inside wall again. Oh
yeah, I mean, in the 8's defense, when he started coming down the racetrack, he was clear. The problem was Christopher Heim's closing rate was just so fast that there really wasn't anything Christopher Heim could do. You know, the 8 shut the door. It's like if you were going 80 miles an hour on the racetrack and you had, or on the highway, I should say, and you had someone come across your nose going 20 miles per hour, you know, whose fault's it going to be? Well, it's, you know, not going to be your fault for coming up on another car. That's kind of what happened and led to that multi-car collision here with just over 50 laps to go here in the Snowball Derby for the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products. Very, very cool race here tonight. And there you see that number 44 of Gormley. Now you see 3 cars in front of him. That's Carpenter, Barnes, and Franklin. They, I believe, will get the wave around here. But Christopher Heim here, interesting to see. Heim is actually tapped for this accident. So Heim is going to take the end of longest line penalty, and that will move Heim back.
Ooh, I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe the 51 could have slowed down, and by all means, this is my personal opinion. This has nothing to reflect with 3Y TV or the Northwest League. The only thing the 51 could have done is just paid attention and maybe slowed up a little bit. There wasn't a caution out yet, so, I mean, he was still technically racing, but, I mean, I would have been okay if no one got the EOL penalty here, but, I mean, if someone had to get it, 51, okay. I mean, he could have avoided that, but I don't think it was really necessary to give him a penalty. And it looks like we are off. Mr. Gormley back at it.
Green flag back in the air. 44 of Gormley once again getting out front, about 4 car lengths between the 44 and the 32 already. Gormley once again with that fantastic jump we have seen all night long. We've got Breitzman wagging the tail all the way down the front stretch in that 46 machine, trying to hold off a hard-charging Shane Quinn. Quinn has really moved his way through this field here tonight. From 19th, transferred in from the B main in that number 4 machine. Hasn't had the outright single lap speed, but over the long run, this number 4 machine has been very, very quick. And now with Breitzman having all of his troubles as we right on board with the 46 machine, look at that wheel just flick left and right. He is got the number 4 machine to his inside, and there's Shane Quinn coming out of the corner.
This might be the beginning of the end of Breitzman.
And now
might be the end.
The number 4 machine, Shane Quinn, up to 3rd, and Breitzman now has the 82 of Bart Hector Jr. to his inside, and wow, he's kind of getting freight trained here.
Yep. He let that door open. I mean, he may have driven the tires off his car where he has no grip. He's stuck on that outside. He can't do anything. And he hits the wall again. That's the second time in a row that he hit that wall in almost the same exact spot where he's just given up so many positions. You hate to see it, but I mean, judging with what just happened, I mean, I'm not sure if he just burned up his tires too quickly, or so, he just got stuck on that outside line with cold tires.
Oh, wow, Brightsman's still getting really loose. He just got completely sideways. And I'll tell you what, he's still sideways. This is the snowballing effect I talked about earlier. He's overheated those tires completely. Those tires are super, 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 super hot. When they get so hot, they have no grip. It's like you're driving on ice. What Brightsman needs to do here is he just needs to reset. He needs to get in a groove. He needs to back up his corners a little bit more. Just stay off the gas a little bit longer, because if you don't cool those tires back down, you're going to continue to slide. And when you're sliding, you're adding so much friction, so much heat into those tires that it's just going to get worse. It's going to drive like you're even more on ice. And so the Snowball Derby here is kind of snowballing out of contention for Sean Brightsman.
Yeah, so we have the leader, Ryan Gormley, just pulling away with a 0.47 second lead on second place car, Seth Frazier. Oh, looks like the 8 was on the curb. What happened there? It looks like Travis Barnes went to the pits.
Yeah, I think Travis Barnes here, he hit the wall. He had a little bit of help from Brad Carpenter. The 8 and the 41 getting together again. 8 and the 31, I should say. And Brad Carpenter got away pretty much scot-free, but unfortunately Barnes was heavy damage in the outside wall, and he's on pit road right now, taking tires as well, which is not allowed, but he will go multiple laps down here because of all that damage he's got. So that number 8 machine, yep, still in his pit box, going to get as much damage repaired as possible, but 41 laps to go, 40 laps this time by, only 20 miles left in tonight's race.
Looks like the field sort of spout. We got a 0.4 to 0.6 second gap in between everyone. I'm trying to see where something exciting's at, but I mean, unfortunately, with the tires and everything, everyone sort of seems spaced out. Where we'll just go ahead and do a rundown of the standings right now. So in first place, we got Ryan Gormley rocking with from 13th to 1st right now, 12 positions. In second place, we got 32, Seth Frazier from 18th, starting 18th to second place. In third place, we got the number 4, Shane Quinn, started in 19th all the way to third. So right there, those two gentlemen, Seth Frazier and Shane Quinn, both advanced their positions up 16 spots in this race so far. Great work. And we got 40 more laps, or less than 40 laps to go, to see, if either one of them can give Ryan Gormley a chance at the victory. So we got Bart Hector at 4th place, starting in the 11th spot. He's got a good showing. He was caught up in some early incidents, but then was able to mitigate it and make a good race out of it. In 5th place, we got the all-star Nick Bellamy. He started in 3rd, and right now he's trying to defend off 6th place car Dylan Huffines in the number 7. In 7th place, we got Cameron Doyle in the number 6, rocking it out. And it looks like, who is that? And that's Shane Bretzman in the 8th place. Looks like he's able to stop the bleeding and stay in.
Sorry to cut you off, but we have a side-by-side battle for the second position right now between Seth Frazier and Shane Quinn. And Shane Quinn is to the inside of that number 32 machine as they go down the front stretch here. That number 4 machine has been lightning quick on the long run here. And Shane Quinn coming out of turn number 2. Looks like he almost cleared Seth Frazier. I think he's going to do it here. Sure enough, he does. Shane Quinn has got that number 4 machine into second. And remember, Shane Quinn was lightning quick at both road courses last week, getting the win at Laguna Seca. What could have been at Watkins Glen? Could he go back-to-back here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products? That would be an interesting storyline from the road courses to the ovals. Shane Quinn getting it done now in the second position, but 1 second behind your race leader.
Quick little side note, the top 4 of this race are currently second through fifth place in points. We got Gormley in second place. We got Hector in third, Frazier in fourth, Quinn in fifth. You got to think that Mr. Anderson sitting there watching this at home, just seeing his positions dropping. He can easily drop down to like almost in the top 10, outside the top 10. Like, man, this is going to be a good finish, especially if Shane Quinn can get up there. Right now, Shane Quinn's currently in fifth place in points. Right in second, he's just got to chase down to 44 of Ryan Gormley. And if he can pull off a win here, I could definitely see him. He might not be in first, but he's definitely going to make a statement here of, hey, I am here to win the championship. There's no other reason why I buckle up in this car except for to win.
I'll tell you what, too. Shane Quinn is coming. He is faster than Ryan Gormley out there on the racetrack right now. Last time by, Shane Quinn was the fastest car. Let's see if he's the fastest car once again this time by. Sure enough.
Yeah, he's cutting that lead down. He's almost at a half second behind.
Yeah, so he's definitely closing in. Not quite a tenth of a second per lap, but about a half tenth of a second per lap. Let's see what it's down to this time. Only about 4/100ths of a second off the charts this time by, but there's 25 laps to go, and you do the math, that is enough for Shane Quinn to get to the back bumper of Ryan Gormley. Of course, he doesn't want to see another yellow because that number 44 can scoot out. What Shane Quinn wants to see here is this thing go green here over this run. We've seen him very, very quick over these runs, and maybe Shane Quinn can get lucky and that 44 can hit some lap traffic inopportunely, that sort of thing. So we'll have to see. But man, Shane Quinn putting on a show. And remember, he transferred from the B main here tonight. So could he go from the B main to an E main?
Outside wall. He was side by side with Bretzman fighting for that 7th spot, and he was able to hit the outside wall in the front straightaway. And then looks like the 80 was able to take advantage of that position and pass Doyle for the 8th spot. But it looks like 80 hit the outside wall in the backstretch too on the last lap. So this is very interesting. These cars are slipping, sliding. Bretzman's working his way back up to 7th, and we can definitely see what's going on. Let's go back up to the front with Quinn chasing down Ryan Gormley, and we got some traffic with the 911 car. Luckily, he's out of the way. The lead is down to 0.39 hundredths of a second. Now it's less than 0.3 of a second. Shane Quinn is doing what he needs to do. He's being consistent. That's what you need to do at these short tracks. You need to know the tire wear and be consistent and hit your marks. He has done that all race, and he's shown it here, essentially writing the textbook about it. And he's just chasing him down lap by lap. I would not be surprised. Like,
wow.
What do we have, 18 laps left? I mean, he's going to pass him within 18 laps. I don't see him not.
Yeah, all I can say is, wow, Shane Quinn got such a run there coming out of turn number 2 that last time, and here he goes. And he's nosing inside that number 44 machine. Fours are wild here as we go down the back stretch, and here comes Shane Quinn to the inside. Ryan Gormley race lead. Battle here with 18 laps to go, 17 laps to go as they go across the stripe here in the Kustom Fab Snowball Derby from Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. And man, Shane Quinn on an absolute tear here.
Ooh, 44 hit the wall.
I mean, Shane Quinn here coming through turn number 4 on the front stretch. Quinn's going to get this lead, and I just don't see them doing this side by side for another 16 laps as Quinn goes down the backstretch. But man, oh man, what a finish it would be if they do, or if they do stay side by side for the next 16 laps. Gormley's still trying to hold on, but Shane Quinn led that lap. First time Shane Quinn has led all day long, just 15 laps to go.
And Ryan will not stop. He is making that high line work. And he's back side by side. Oh my gosh, man. This is amazing right here. And the funny thing is they were pulling away from third place Seth Frazier, but it looks like they're losing some time to Seth Frazier now.
I think
and
Shane
it looks like the pass has been completed.
Yep. Shane Quinn's finally made it work down there on the inside now. The big question is, can Shane Quinn Now pull away, get his head down. He's got some clean air on the nose of that 44 machine. Can he just put in another 13 good laps here in tonight's Snowball Derby? I mean, this could be back-to-back wins. Going back to a point that you said, Shane Quinn has been able to hit his marks lap after lap. He did that last week at Laguna Seca. Just lights out at Laguna Seca. He would have won at Watkins Glen if it wasn't from a pit road speeding penalty. He had like a 20-second or so pit road speeding penalty, and he lost that race by only about 4 seconds. I mean, that told you just how fast Shane Quinn was at Watkins Glen. And then at Laguna Seca, he led all 45 laps of that one, and now trying to get his second consecutive win in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. He got a little bit of help there because the 44 of Gormley caught lap traffic, the 48 of McKinney a little bit in the wrong spot, and now Shane Quinn has scooted away just a little bit up the front, already up to a 0.3 of a second race lead.
Yeah, I mean, I said it, like the Ford has been one of the most consistent cars out there. I'm not trying to take anything away from Gormley. He's doing a good job driving that car to the fullest potential, hitting the outside wall and not losing speed. Ryan is driving almost like the race of his life right now. Like, he wants that lead back, and unfortunately, Mr. Consistency of tonight's race is just putting it down and showing everyone how it's done on the short track race. Lap traffic might come into effect. We have about 6 laps left. This is going to get a little dicey up here. We got, what is that, the 72? Looks like he's giving up, okay. And let's see, we have anyone else looking in? No. And yeah, that 44, he's just wiggling around a little too much. Like, he might have driven the tires off that car where they're just a little too hot right now. But, I mean, like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Ryan, but Shane is just all race. Like, we just see him, like, his car's not shaking at all. It's amazing, like, on what? How old is his tires? Like, almost 180 laps? It's just, yeah, 165, and they're not even wiggling. Like, his car is just perfectly sound. Looks like you put that car anywhere on that track, and he's 100% comfortable.
Bart Hector here is way off the pace. I'm wondering if that number 82 machine might be out of fuel. Remember, a couple of these drivers sounded like they might have some fuel question marks. And Bart Hector here in the last few laps, he has gone from the 6th position now, from the 5th position all the way back to 11th now. And he's in danger of losing more spots with Brad Carpenter not too far behind, Kyle Franklin as well, Christopher Heim. In fact, as I say that, Carpenter and Franklin have actually gone by. So Bart Hector Jr. here bleeding positions in the late going. He must be pretty much running on fumes here to try and get to the finish. But there's only 2 laps to go. And Shane Quinn coming out of turn number 4. White flag in the flagman's hand. 1 more lap to go in tonight's 300 lap Snowball Derby presented by Kustom Fab. And Shane Quinn now just half a lap away from that Kustom Fab trophy. Coming out of turn number 4, Shane Quinn sees the checkered flag. He goes back-to-back wins in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products from Laguna Seca out on the west coast to Pensacola, Florida on the east coast. This man right here, Shane Quinn, gets it done. Ryan Gormley finishes 2nd, Seth Frazier 3rd, Dylan Huffines in the number 7 machine. Great recovery for him. He comes home 4th tonight. Dylan Huffines, we didn't really talk about him for the last 40 laps or so, but a good recovery by Huffines to finish up in 4th. Nick Bellamy comes home 5th, Bryceman 6th, Paulson 7th, O'Hara 8th, Doyle 9th, and Lambert in 10th. As that number 4 machine does donuts here on the front stretch. What a run for that man right there, the number 4 of Shane Quinn. I know kind of probably with about 80 laps to go, or 80 laps or so to go, I said to you that we got to watch out for this number 4 machine because he was the fastest car out there on the racetrack, and I said if he gets another caution flag, I think he might be able to do something with your winner. And sure enough, he got a caution flag about 10 laps after that. But that man, what a run for really those top 3. 300 laps here tonight. Very, very slick racetrack. Really, really good show. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he just put a clinic on not overdriving the car, being able to go through traffic, finding your spots. Like a good skill that I possess that I think in racing is just follow the leader and find out where you're better than the car in front of you. Find out where you're better than the car in front of you, and then just take advantage of that and not overdrive the car. And that's essentially what Shane did. He was just slowly moving up the leaderboard throughout the entire race, and then all of a sudden he's in top three, and then as soon as he gets in second place, he just runs down Ryan, and they go side by side for a good solid 7-10 laps, and that was an amazing 10 laps right there. Like both Ryan and Shane did a great job. Definitely great for point standings. Rookie of the year, Gormley should get it by far. Like I don't see anyone else even coming close.
Well, of course, this is just one race, and every single race is different. Every single racetrack is different. But Gorley came into tonight second place in points, and with tonight's showing, we'll probably leave this joint as your points leader. But let's not rule out a couple of the other drivers. Shane Quinn as well. Very, very good run for him here tonight, and Seth Frazier, Dylan Huffines, and Nick Bellamy, all with great showings, all up there in the top 5. It's been a
Oh yeah.
fantastic race here. But let's step away for just a brief moment here on 3Y TV. We're going to line up some interviews for you, and we'll be back just a brief moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 3 Wide TV. Tonight's second annual Custom Fab Snowball Derby here on the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products has come to a conclusion. But we've got your top 3 finishers lined up for you. Seth Frazier, Ryan Gormley, and Shane Quinn, your race winner. And let's see if we can dial up the number 32 machine. Seth Frazier coming home third here tonight. And Seth Frazier, Peter Short here in the 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, first off, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products, kind of what you have outlined for us. And I know you'll have, shout-outs for the league, and also we want to hear your shout-outs as a driver and hear about your night. But tell us a little bit about what the Northwest Tour has going for it and what we're looking forward to here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, me and BJ got this started. It's actually BJ's league, and I helped him run it. We got it started here about 3 years ago. This is our 3rd season. It's just a place for everyone to, in the cold wintertime, to go racing up here in the Northwest. It's not like down south where you can go racing year round. We up here we're getting snow, so it gives all of us racers something to do.
Well, snow equates to snowmobile racing. But even then, there's even limits to that, because I know that recently there was a snowmobile race, I think, up in Idaho that got rained out or snowed out, I should say. But nonetheless, it's a fantastic league. Of course, we got Stafford, I believe, next week on the schedule, and then a couple weeks off. But, the schedule is very diverse from a short track thing. You also have different races in there. Of course, last week you had the twisted road course duel, and of course we got some double headers coming up throughout this season. Is that something that you've kind of taken from other races or other race leagues and real life racing and kind of added it into the sim?
Well, back in the day up in the Northwest, there was a NASCAR Northwest Tour in real life, and it was kind of the premier league or premier touring series of the whole Northwest. And they made usually one stop at a road course every year, so we tried to somewhat keep it realistic to that. And we try to give drivers a little bit of a variety of different type of races. I mean, you go to Stafford next race. We have a few weeks off for the holidays, and then we go to Iowa, which is a big track. And I think we still have Phoenix on the schedule too later in the year. So other than that, we're predominantly short track, but there is a few things mixed in there.
Yeah, of course, when the NASCAR Tour went to Portland way back when, that was a very interesting race to watch. It was always a fun one, even for me down in the South. I really enjoyed getting to see that race. I've always been a fan of Portland International Raceway up there in the Northwest. But nonetheless, for you, let's talk about your night here tonight. You had, you started out in the B main. You didn't have the best qualifying lap. Did a fantastic job of staying up there in the top 4, top 3 in that B main, able to transfer over. First off, what were your thoughts going into it? Did you have high hopes for this race? And then how were you able to get another top 3 in the A main?
Well, in qualifying, on my first lap going into turn 3, I had a good lap going, and somebody poked me in TeamSpeak. And I didn't have my screen set up properly, so it actually sent me out to a black screen. So I had to stop the car real quick and then only get a second lap in with the hot tires. So that kind of screwed up qualifying. I think I probably qualified top 10 for sure. I don't know where at exactly, but this track usually pretty somewhat quick at. I didn't have anything for Quinn there at the end. I think me and Gormley were pretty much trading lap times. I was about to run out of fuel the last few laps, so I started having to save fuel. But it was a fun night. I mean, it's a tough league. There's a lot of really good drivers in here, and there's about 8 to 15 of us that really have a decent shot at winning. So it was fun.
Yeah, definitely. It was an awesome watch to see how that race transpired. Going back to the halfway mark, it seemed like once you got to that halfway caution flag, you were able to pole vault your way up into the top 5. What was your pit strategy there? Didn't quite get to see it all play out from our point of view. Didn't quite, get all the pieces there. But what was your pit strategy there, and how were you able to get up into the top 5?
Well, with the way these cars fill up with fuel, they take forever to take fuel. So we told the guys they can only take tires in the competition yellow, but fuel was allowed at any point during the race. So if I got front early on in the race, I was gonna play the strategy most people played with not taking any fuel. But if I fell to the back and I got involved in early caution, I tried to keep the car as full of fuel as possible. So when I pit, I was pretty much only taking tires. I wasn't having to have an extra 10 seconds on my pit stop for fuel. So I went, I think, from 11th to 2nd, I think, from there. So that really benefited me.
Yeah, you got that good track position, and you just never gave it up there in the top 3 for the last half of the race in that number 32 machine. And I mean, there were times there where you, like you said, you were trading off times with Ryan up there, and there were periods of time where I look at the 5-lap averages, and you were actually faster than that number 44 machine. So it was a very, very good watch for you and that number 32 machine. Of course, another good points night for you up there near the top of the charts in points. So good there. But before we let you go, you got any shout outs for us?
I'd just like to thank Joe's for coming on board and sponsoring the tour, Kustom Fab for coming on tonight and sponsoring the Snowball Derby and giving us some awesome trophies, and my buddy Mike Wood back in Middlesex, North Carolina, for getting a bunch of our cars for us. If you ever need a paint scheme on iRacing, he's the guy to talk to.
Yeah, and kind of want to give a shout out to Kustom Fab. Tell us a little bit about the trophies before you go off and do all your admin things. Tell us about those trophies and kind of, what these drivers will expect when they receive them.
Well, Chance over at Kustom Fab, him and his crew are really talented fabricators. They can build anything, and they build a lot of trophies for a lot of the big races in the Northwest, whether it's the Fall Classic or Summer Showdown or Apple Cup or different touring series championship trophies. They are really awesome trophies, and Chance is a good friend of the league, so he made some awesome trophies for us. And I think he's getting them to BJ, and we're going to be shipping them out to everybody, I think, this week. So it's pretty awesome stuff.
Very, very cool. Well, Seth, congratulations on your podium finish here tonight, and best of luck next week at Stafford.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, that is your third place finisher, driver of the number 32 machine, Seth Frazier, and also an admin here in the Northwest Tour presented by Joe's Racing Products. And I believe that Charles Sears has caught up with your second place finisher, the number 44 machine of Ryan Gormley.
I sure have. Let me bring him up here. Hey, Ryan, this is Charles in the 3Y TV booth. Do you hear me?
Hey, Charles. Yeah, I got you.
That's what's up, man. You ran such a good race, man. You were out in front. You were one of the fastest in practice. Tell me what happened towards the last 30 laps. It sort of seemed like you didn't seem loose, but were just your tires not there anymore?
Yeah, I lost the handle in the front end actually. Leaning on the front tires to get me through. I could lean on the rear tires to get out of the corner. So yeah, shout out to the car for considerations, and he's just better.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I don't know if you're breaking up or your push to talk button is broken or malfunctioning.
Can you hear me?
It sort of seems like you're coming in and out.
Okay. Yeah, I was just using the front end a lot through the corner, trying to lean on the front end so I didn't use up my rears coming out.
Yeah, gotcha. You're being really consistent. I mean, unfortunately, we're watching you and Shane Quinn the last half of the race, and you're just slightly more consistent than you were. So, unfortunately, I don't know. He was just hitting all of his marks. You were hitting your marks. You definitely showed the speed, but I mean, you definitely made a statement here with another second place, another great finish to your season. You're definitely taking a huge lead on the Rookie of the Year race, and with Mr. Anderson gone, with Quinn being in fifth place, I don't see the points yet, but I mean, you definitely are in the run-in to at least win one of the helmets, let alone the Rookie of the Year helmet or the Champion helmet. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that was quite the surprise to hear that Anderson wasn't going to show up tonight. I actually predicted him to win it, but yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good overall championship, and it's pretty competitive out there. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I do appreciate you coming up here. Do you before we let you go, do you have anyone you want to shout out?
Oh, definitely. You guys up in the booth do a great job. Joe's Racing Products, Custom Fab, sponsoring the Snowball Derby, and Mike's Wood Race Designs and Wrestler Motors, and parents for watching and supporting me, my wife, and all the fans out there. You guys put on a good show.
That's awesome, Ryan. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And only watching, this is my first race broadcasting, second race watching. I've definitely become a Ryan Gormley fan. Is it Gormley?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
Gormley.
I was mispronouncing your name so many different ways throughout the race, but I will make sure to start pronouncing it correctly. Great job, and that was a great finish, man.
Hey, no problem. Thanks.
All right, and there we have it. And then now we have Peter getting in touch with our race winner, Shane Quinn.
And that I have. I've gotten down to victory lane here in the Snowball Derby. And Shane, a lot of big names in real world racing have won Snowball Derby, but it is Shane Quinn. You get to put your name here, the second annual one here in the Northwest, represented by Joe's Racing Product. Get to victory lane, and I'll tell you what, with about 80 laps to go or so, I looked over at my live timing and scoring, and I saw that you were the fastest car over 5-lap period. And I said, man, if we get another yellow, I said it in the broadcast, I said, if we get a yellow, watch out for this number 4 machine, and you put that thing in victory lane. Tell us a little bit about your last half of your race.
It was really surprising. I really didn't expect to go up to the front like that. I just focused on saving my tires and being consistent. And I was honestly, when I was in 5th, I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of content right here. Nothing too bad has happened. I'm in 5th. I'll walk over the top 5. But then I was just kind of in the zone and kept going, and things happened. So I won. It was pretty cool, man.
I know Charles had made the comment, over the last 50 laps or so, you were just so consistent. You hit your marks consistently. You were definitely saving tires because you were able to get out of the corners without wiggling, because you were able to get the traction in the rear tires. And I went back to last week when you were racing on road courses, and I understand, road course racing and ovals are completely different, but sometimes you go back to the basics. The basics on a road course. Don't overdrive it. Hit your marks. Lap, be consistent. That's what you did here tonight. And of course, 2 for 2 now in the last 2 races, winning at last week at Laguna Seca, and then coming here. I mean, 2 wildly different races. I mean, that must feel pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm still mind blown by it. I probably will be for the rest of the week. I can't believe it happened. It's pretty cool. I'm really thankful that Seth and Tidrix let me do this, and I want to thank Custom Fab and everybody putting this on. You guys, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy this a lot.
Well, you're going to have to go back and watch the replay for this one and just to see how it all unfolded, because you only led those last 16 laps, and they were it was really, really awesome to see that number 4 machine move up to the front like you did. Here, Five Flags, we move over to Stafford for next week. A little bit different short track, still a short track, but race is quite a bit different to Five Flags. What are your thoughts about going to Stafford?
I honestly don't really have any yet. I've only been at that track in a Legends car, so I got to get on the track, and I think it'll be a lot tighter than you would think. When you get on the track gets a lot narrower, and so I think in a late model that track will get pretty narrow.
That it will. I've raced there before, and that pretty much sums it up, but it should be another spectacular show. You guys know how to put on a show each and every week here in the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products. But before we let you go, Shane, you want to give you the opportunity to give us some more shout-outs. You gave a few just a minute ago, but any more shout-outs for you?
Yeah, I'm going to thank my girlfriend for putting up with me while I practice all the time, and family and friends that are watching at home. My brother Bellamy, I practice with him all the time. Nick Bellamy, he's always quick. He's going to get his this season still. And just everybody I have fun doing this with. Thanks, everybody.
Well, congratulations once again, Shane, on getting your second consecutive win here in the Northwest Tour, trying to go for the hat trick next week at Stafford Motor Speedway. But until then, best of luck, bud.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our winner of the Custom Fab Snowball Derby. Shane Quinn driving the number 4 machine. What a spectacular show. But, Charles, I think there's one more thing that we're going to have to do, and that's go through tonight's finishing order. And we'll go through them here. Shane Quinn taking the win over Ryan Gormley. Gormley led 165 laps, but unfortunately could not hold off the hard-charging Shane Quinn. Seth Frazier finishes in 3rd. Dylan Huffines finishes 4th. Nick Bellamy comes home 5th. You heard that Shane Quinn thinks that Bellamy's going to get a win before the season end. Sean Breitzman comes home in 6th. James Paulson 7th. Thomas O'Hara 8th. Cameron Doyle 9th. Brian Lambert 10th. Take it away, Charles.
So we have Brad Carpenter in 11th. Kyle Franklin in 12th. Christopher Heim in 13th. Bart Hector in 14th. That's a shame. It seemed like he ran out of fuel. I wish we could have interviewed him to figure out what was going on there. In 15th, Josh Robinson. 16th, we have Brad Morrison. 17th, we have Travis McKinney. Adam Holm comes in 18th. BJ Tidrick is in 19th. Kason Tillman ended up in 20th spot. And then for your last 4 positions, we have Travis Barnes in 21st. Chris Marang in 22nd. Ellie Musgrave in 23rd, and Casey Garber in 24th. And one thing I will say, the mover of the race, or what is 3 Wide TV called? The person that gained the most positions.
Yeah, we don't have one yet, so if you want to coin that term, go right ahead.
All right, we'll just call him from right now the mover of the race. It definitely goes out to Dylan Huffines. Started in 24th, ends up in 4th position. Definitely one person I want to talk to, because he definitely seemed like he went through it all. Back in the racetrack, mid-pack. I think he started in back of the field again, and now he's back all the way up there. And another quick shout out to Sean Breitzman, making it all the way back to 6th place. Man, now thinking about it, Peter, this was just an all-around great race for everyone in the top 10. Like, the action was good. You saw some tire wear hurt some people. O'Hara had some issues, but still finished in 8th, where that could have been a lot worse for him. This was overall a great race, in my opinion.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly. And of course, make sure you join us again next week at Stafford Motor Speedway for us once again here on 3 Wide TV and the Northwest Tour, presented by Joe's Racing Products, because it's going to be another spectacular show. But for myself, Peter Short, Charles Sears, and Carlos Acosta, we want to thank all of our friends over at OCR TV for the graphics and our friends at Sin TV for the cameras that we have each and every week. But until we see you again, we want to say good night, and we'll see you then. See ya!